stream begins. I'm going to be monkeying with dynamic lighting on the new map while we go about things.
That's fine. I'm in the house shooting bitches.
I'm gonna defend myself and listen to the watch the video you linked, Puppy.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe somebody else can glean better context out of it.
So I'm going to try to explain it. So it's called alt-right doctor. So what's alt-right about the doctor, who's being portrayed by Dick Coughlin, is so the woman who ContraPoints is portraying has cancer, and that cancer is going to kill her if left totally unchecked. The alt-right doctor is basically asserts that despite the cancer's genuine desire to kill her, she should treat it like a reasonable discussion partner and basically pretend that it does not actively intend to kill her. So that's basically it. Like, sort of analogous to how I just yesterday saw a comment by an alt-writer, and I don't have the exact context, so it's possible that I'm wrong. They were describing in seemingly like they longed for the return of these ancient times, a past era where the punishment for being gay was this like ridiculously gruesome torture, like something out of a fucking modern horror movie. It was they would be castrated, and then they would be dragged through the streets by barbs that were inserted into their penis, and then they would be burned at the stake. And someone who wants to do that, to me personally, it's one thing to suggest being nonviolent regarding them for tactical reasons. It's another thing to insinuate that I should, for a moment, think of them as some kind of equal discussion partner.
Sounds like a troll to me, but alright.
The context makes me think otherwise. It was a person... I mean, it was on a video by an alt-right content creator, the Golden One, so it would not have been out of place for someone who really believes that to be there. And he was elaborating on previous statements he had made pertaining to this. And also, like, the troll thing, like, the problem with the troll thing is that anyone in the world can get out of any criticism always ever by lying and saying that they're a troll. So I just put no stock into that excuse.
I mean, there's a difference between genuinely hating somebody and being a troll. So...
If they're indistinguishable, then there isn't. I mean, there is in terms of it's not literally the same thing going on inside your brain, but it has the same, you are literally doing the same, engaging in the same behavior, and everywhere except in your brain, it has the same effect on the world outside of you, so it's not different.
Isn't that the point?
Well, it's not. If they're trolling, then then presumably their intention is not to shift public opinion toward desiring the execution of gay people. But
You guys started talking about it before I even finished the video. Come on.
But that's the thing. Like, I've just seen too many people people who are like pundits who clearly mean what they say and professionally express their own opinions, claim to have been trolling. Like, if you're lying about what your positions are, it's not my job to discern that you're lying and react accordingly. It's your job not to lie about what you believe, and if you don't want me to come to the conclusion that you believe something horrible, don't lie and claim you believe something horrible.
Right, but isn't that the point of trolling?
But if that were so the point of trolling is, I find, often to say something that you really believe with plausible deniability where you can claim later that you don't.
I don't know, man.
I mean, I've seen that happen so many times, where someone has said something abhorrent with there being no evidence present that
Yes, that is the point. The point is to make you completely believe that somebody is truthful in their statement, and then you react to it, and thus you've been trolled.
Then, I mean, if they're indistinguishable, then that's just polluting the discourse, I guess. Which I guess you would say is the point. But like, I mean, if they're indistinguishable, then I can't distinguish them? I mean, like...
Yes, that is the point.
So I'm just supposed to never have a negative reaction to anything anyone says ever?
Well, I mean, you're gonna have a better life overall if you try to do that, yes.
But I'm also going to be but I would also then be completely complacent and utterly inactive in all public discussion ever.
Okay, think of it this way. If someone says something that's insightful, that makes you angry, one of two things is happening. Either they are trying to make you angry, or they accidentally made you angry. If they're trying to make you angry, don't give them the satisfaction. If they're accidentally making you angry, then it was just an accident, and try to come up with a reasonable discourse to a solution. So becoming angry in response is the exact opposite of what you should.
So the problem with what you just said is that you just presented being angry as a decision, when it's an it's an involuntary reaction. It's like feeling pain after being slapped. You
can suppress pain as well, so I don't buy that.
Yeah.
It does take effort. It does take, but you can feel angry, and you can choose not to let that affect her.
Right. I suppose the best phrasing is to not act on it so that they don't get what they want out of you.
So it's kind of like the idea of living well is the best revenge, where taking the high road and taking away their power is the best course of action almost 100% of the time.
I don't really agree with that. I mean, I think that's what they want me to think, that I shouldn't. And I mean, granted, I'm not one to respond with some unhinged rant. I'm more disgusted than angry. But at the same time, if I just go around assuming that everyone who says something that I find objectionable is lying in order to get a rise out of me, then I, like I say, will be completely complacent and have no voice in the conversation as a whole.
No, you can still have a voice in the conversation. You just shouldn't show anger or any emotion that would feed into them. A calm, rational discussion is completely fine.
Yeah, just passionately disprove their points.
That's a lot to ask of someone who was just told that by the other person that they want me personally to be burned at the stake.
Which is why they're targeting your group specifically is because it's easier to get you guys to feed the trolls.
Who's you guys?
Whatever group you were specifically fighting against.
I mean, I wasn't. I was just scrolling through comments when this happened.
Right,
was
but
on-
it sounds like they were targeting Team Gay, and so you fed the trolls.
Well, I didn't respond. I was just giving that as an example of the kind of thing where in the video that ContraPoints and Dick Coughlin made, they're talking about the idea that we should regard Nazis as like equal subjects of common rational discussion, when they don't deserve that. Not that you should obviously I'm not saying you should be irrational, but it's not reasonable to demand that people not have an emotional response to someone else declaring their desire to murder them. That's not a reasonable thing to say, and it's not reasonable to judge people for being quote unquote triggered over hearing that.
I mean, you've got people that are trying to provoke a reaction. The best thing you can do is that, and if you can't do that, then I mean, it can't be helped to some extent, sure, but
so
calm and rational discourse is the most helpful thing to any conversation ever.
So first, I would like to point out that calm and rational are not very related. Like, there's a slight correlation, but secondly, so I mean, okay, let's take both of those scenarios. So someone says that either they're lying about their position to get a rise out of me, in which case they don't warrant a discussion where I treat them like they're an equal discussion partner whose views are worthy of serious consideration, or they're a person who wants to murder me, in which case they do not deserve for me to treat them like an equal discussion partner whose views are worthy of serious consideration.
You're right. And so you should walk away from that discussion entirely.
But
that's how free speech works.
in terms of, they would say otherwise, but in terms of the one-on-one discussion with them, sure, but if a bunch of people are genuinely coming to that conclusion, then as a matter of not being murdered, I'm gonna have to work to suppress that.
As a matter of not being murdered, you self-defense yourself, and then you're okay.
So if people are coming to the conclusion that I should be murdered and are advocating killing me, my only response should be to, I should not work to affect the public discourse at all and convince people otherwise. I should only work with the hope that I will be able to take in a fight whoever comes to that conclusion, and I guess if a bunch of people come at me at once, I'm just fucked.
It's not a serious threat. It's like when someone says "kill all white men." I don't say, "Oh fuck, they're gonna kill me." The argument is facetious and not to be taken seriously.
Yes, but if there were a large number of actual cases in history of white men being killed, if that had been the fucking standard reaction to a person being white throughout all of history up until the last couple of centuries, and if that had been something
That's a lot of ifs.
But everything I just said is basically true of gay people. Not all of history everywhere.
Culture.
Not.
I mean, when one culture interacts with another, that they do tend to kill each other, regardless of who they are.
But you are never going to be killed for being white. People are killed for being gay.
You act like white slavery wasn't a thing in other countries.
So do you understand that we're in America in 2018 right now?
Yes,
Yeah,
and
we
that's
can
my
start.
point.
You understand that.
Do you understand that in America in 2018, gay people are killed for being gay and white people are not killed for being white?
I disagree.
That one guy in Chicago was. Or
Yeah, that happens a lot,
beaten half to
actually.
death. Actually, a couple of people have been white people have been beaten half to death.
In fact, it's happened a lot more recently.
So we're gonna pull up some hate crime statistics.
Or we can just start the game.
No,
Yeah,
this is worth
we
it.
should start.
Just like, because I say are not, I'm sure that there's like fewer than 5 cases of it.
The problem with the statistics is white males are not considered a protective group, so it would not be counted in a lot of.
That's
Exactly.
not correct.
Yes, it is.
That is correct.
They like just the case in Chicago where the guy was beaten for being white. They did not classify that as a hate crime.
I'm inclined not to believe you because
I'm saying they literally did. I mean, I know this case specifically. They specifically, you white motherfucker, we're gonna beat you for being white, and they did not classify that as a hate crime. And even they had literal video of them saying that. They did not classify it as a hate crime. So it's biased in that regard.
I
So
simply suspect that you are wrong because it's a matter of
Protections fall on minorities, not majorities. And so
yeah, but
it's a
in the
protected
case of
class.
I know that where discrimination is concerned, they don't call out specific groups, they call out kinds of characteristics like race and sexual orientation.
right, but it's an exception. The burden of proof when the victim is a man or white is much higher. Where is the issue, and it has to be overwhelming evidence. And even in cases where there is evidence, the cases are often dismissed in comparison. And I'm not saying that there's a greater problem of white discrimination versus black discrimination. I'm just saying that when the problem exists, it's taken more seriously when it's black or against women, against minorities or against women.
I mean, that's probably true. But at the same time, I mean, I'm varying. I mean, in practice, most people would probably not think of it as a hate crime unless there was something very explicit like what you described. People probably would be quicker to suspect that, and kind of reasonably so. I mean, if a black person is beat up and we know nothing about the reason why, it's kind of reasonable to think that might be why. If a white person is, that's just not something that happens very often, so it's kind of reasonable to think it might be something else.
I agree that that's how it's commonly perceived, but I don't agree that that's how that should be.
I mean, okay. Obviously, I'm very, like I said, I'm incredulous about the idea that it is actually not a hate crime, because I've seen hate crime statistics, and they do include an entry for white people, and the number is not actually 0. It's like it's like in the ones or single digits or teens.
Right, it's not
Right,
zero.
but that's because it's so hard to prove.
It's the kind of situation like, you know how with black people they've proven statistically if a black person and a white person commit a crime, a black person is more likely to be convicted, more likely to be charged, more likely to be sentenced harsher. In the same sense, a crime against a white person is less likely to be seen as a hate crime. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. They both exist in the judicial system.
I mean, might be.
But
we would have to stop to look that up. Seriously, so
it's hard to find statistics on things that aren't being kept accurately. So that's what's
Yeah.
going on.
I mean, I've never been in fear that someone would harm me on account of my race. I have been in fear that someone would harm me on account of my sexual orientation.
Huh. You must be in like wonderful suburbia because I've had that problem.
Well, I am in wonderful suburbia, true enough. And there are, I would say, certainly the city where I live in is disproportionately white. I think it's fair to say. I mean, I'm not. I doubt. I do imagine that, and I'm doing some work here, so this isn't instead of starting. That I do imagine that in places where black people are the majority, it's probably not as easy to be white as it is in the overwhelming majority of places. Well, in America. At the same time, though, I mean, like you say you've had that problem. Like, what kinds of things have happened to you? I'm curious now. Well,
Just in general, walking on the street, in the middle of a city, or in the most recent case, I don't think it was the Ferguson thing, but there was another thing after that, when Black Lives Matter was really heavy. The family went to Walmart, and like just being in Walmart was fucking terrifying because of the looks and whispers and, oh my god, we gotta kill Whitey.
So, what happened was someone went to the Walmart and was So let me be clear, when I say I've been put into fear as a result of my sexual orientation, I mean a negative thing happened and I was worried they would follow up on it. I don't mean I was worried a negative thing would happen.
I've literally had to prevent assaults on myself. And as for the family, it was more about intimidation because of racial shit that was happening at the time.
I mean, that's not even it's not that I don't believe that, it's that I also don't believe that. Like, it's not impossible. It's not impossible that that happened, but it's also entirely possible that that did not happen and that it was in their imagination.
I agree to that extent, but having gone to that same Walmart myself in the same week, it was a less pleasant experience than it usually is, and so they probably felt it a lot more.
I mean, all I can say is that if that's really the worst that ever happens to white people, then we really are as privileged as farthest left people say.
I mean, for them, they've probably dealt with worse shit and not told me. But I know that I've had actual problems that I've dealt with. But I don't think privilege is a matter of that. And Torsiv is back, so maybe we should do a thing.
Yeah. So, you guys are in Kintargo. You've successfully secured an alliance type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You are now...
Okay, hi guys, I'm back.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. The Ravounel, in effect, the Ravounel Republic, or whatever 2nd edition chooses to call it, is an independent nation. And further events are not going to develop for a couple of... Let's go ahead. Let's see. How long? 6 weeks. Jesus Christ.
That's some good crafting time.
Yeah.
So, you have that time to craft. I will allow you to make crafting decisions after this session, because unless something goes horribly wrong, you should not get into a fight this session.
Cool.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to tell me about what you do during those 6 weeks?
Go out and kill bandits so we can level up.
You can certainly work to police the city and the areas around it. However, all of the criminals you find are really low CR, so you don't really get a lot of XP out of it.
We're grinding, killing boars in the forest.
Yeah. Teleport to the forest, just keep killing boars.
No, that works with the backstory, because, you know, go to the forest, find some exotic tiger or some shit.
This
Skin
really,
it, turn
this
it into
really,
a hat.
this really small little plant-looking creature with a kind of a little 2-leaf clover on his head and yellow eyes appears before you and scolds you in a high-pitched voice for killing animals for no reason.
Oh, it's not for no reason. I'm turning them into a hat and making a profit out of it.
And I'm eating the meat.
You have made him feel no better. With
Keep walking, little guy, before I turn vegetarian.
I think I have a spell for that. I mean, look.
I mean, that is kind of what I'm going for, really. I mean,
I meant that I'm gonna eat you. You vine leshy or whatever you are.
oh, oh yeah. It's all right if you do that. And then he sprouts a vine, and it has a something like 7 berries on it, and he offers you one.
Yeah, those aren't as tasty as this meat.
Was that something he
Definitely
dragged out of his ass?
No, it came from.
He grows them.
Yeah, he's physically made of vines, and so they grow basically just from his person, but from the outside of him.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. With a spellcraft check so easy you make it on a 1, you know that he just cast that he effectively was doing good berry with what he just did. And so those are in fact good berries, and he's given them to you for free.
Awesome.
He keeps 1 for himself because he can only
2 for himself.
Yeah, he keeps 2 for himself. 1 for himself and 1 for a little kitty cat he has. I say little,
Wow.
not actually little, like quite fucking large indeed.
Oh, look at you,
Awesome.
little kitty. You get old enough, you're gonna be a good meal.
I think that's blight. That could be good.
Oh, you're gonna kill the fucking vegetation. Isn't that evil?
It's just
It's
vegetation.
It's necromancy. It's not evil, but I'm not gonna.
If you kill, I mean, in all seriousness, if you kill this guy for scolding you for eating meat and then giving you some good berries, that would actually be an evil act.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Like, as a vegetarian, I realize that we're annoying to people who don't want to admit that they're morally inferior to us, but it does not justify murder.
I
Where's...
suppose.
No, Leon,
Oh,
don't
hey,
fight.
it
Leon,
didn't happen
Leon,
this
don't
time,
fight.
guys.
What?
Every time somebody says they're a vegetarian, somebody just randomly comes in and says, "Hey, I do CrossFit."
What?
I hear knocking on the door, actually.
I genuinely don't know what you're talking about.
Me neither.
It's a theme where vegetarians also do CrossFits and are engineers.
It's not even that. It's
It's
like,
common things people
whenever
brag
you're
about.
talking about something, a food topic, somebody will either say like, "I'm allergic to gluten," or "I'm a vegetarian," or like when you're talking to somebody, "Hey, miss, you dropped your purse," and she'll say, "I have a boyfriend."
Yeah.
Well, I certainly wish I had a boyfriend to say that about, but, yeah.
What? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Let's keep going. Why would you drop your purse?
It's it's things people say in any context where they just apropos of nothing, they'll just mention, "Oh, I'm a vegan. Oh, I have a boyfriend." It's like not kind of bragging or just kind of like you want to fit it in every conversation. You want
Wait a minute. How long have you been a vegetarian, Puppy?
Fully and totally. I've been transitioning into it since the beginning of the year. I have not eaten meat in a few weeks at this point.
Well, I think it's a bit too early to call yourself morally superior to us.
No, he's trying, and that's a good thing.
And the meat, does that include everything? Fish, chicken?
That includes all things that are the flesh of creatures. I say vegan for simplicity's sake, as what my goal is. My problem is not with animal products, it's with animal products that result from either A, killing the animal, or B, factory farming the animal. My mom has a friend who grows her own little chickens who are just her pets, and I'm to understand she treats them quite wonderfully, and they are fine and wonderful and live great lives, and we get eggs from there, and I'm fine with those. But I'm not fine with eggs, milk, cheese from factory farm locations, and so I sort of, in the name of making sure, I will not eat I will eventually not eat commercial stuff to that effect. At this point, I only somewhat avoid that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So this is a new thing and a personal belief of yours?
Yeah, it's a ethical, personal belief thing.
Yeah.
It's not a health thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I have an aunt who's also a vegan, but that's because she's into sports and do a lot of training. So she said this is from a health perspective.
Isn't that really bad for exercise and training because you don't get red meat?
Well, red meat is for protein and building muscles.
It works out for her.
I think she has enough carbohydrates to fuel her.
Usually chicken and fish are what you do when you're trying to bulk up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt she's trying to bulk up.
Yeah. I mean, no,
she's not. She's an athlete with skiing and running, so it's not the point to make a lot of muscles.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's about toning.
There are materials with which to bulk up as a vegan. It's just a matter of
trusting what it says on the bottle.
I mean, that is yes, that is a requirement to that. I mean, that's a requirement for any food product, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you can taste if the meat's off, you know?
I mean, there's a lot of things they can do to meat that, they put carbon monoxide in meat. That doesn't, people don't notice it. It still doesn't make it a good idea.
Yeah.
No, it does make it a good idea.
Depends on the use.
They do notice carbon monoxide. The point of carbon monoxide is to make it bright red so that people will want to buy it.
That would be nitrogen in the sealable cases.
No, they specifically add a carbon monoxide, like Poppy said, to make it nice and red instead of gray.
Yeah.
Well, carbon monoxide should make it gray because it will just react with the hemoglobin and the oxygen in the fucking muscles, and it's just gonna turn it fucking black like a coal.
Yeah, I have no idea. I know they use nitrogen to keep stuff looking fresh. But...
Yeah, nitrogen makes a bit more sense, but I can't see how carbon monoxide is gonna do such a thing, especially when hemoglobin is involved.
Let's see here.
Is there anything else you guys want to tell me about that you do over a period of 6 weeks?
I convert somebody. I convert the leaf fleshy into being a meat eater.
Oh, that's a good idea. Wait,
let's do diplomacy check.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Diplomacy plus 37 diplomacy. Oh, plus 39 actually for plus 39 diplomacy. Roll one.
Yeah.
D20 plus 39. 43 diplomacy check. Here, have this hamburger.
He acknowledges that you've made a very good, a very compelling, a very strong case that he doesn't quite have an answer to. However, his devout devotion to the green faith is too powerful. This is sort of a paladin opening the tomb they swore to protect kind of instance.
Poppy, actually, you can convert someone from a faith. There is a thing in like the cleric where if somebody has a faith, it adds to the DC in the diplomacy check.
There are mechanics for doing that, but there are also statements in the descriptions of the diplomacy skill that
what can and can't be done with it.
You can't just if someone doesn't want to do something strongly enough, then they cannot be persuaded to.
Yeah, I know.
Once a creature's attitude has shifted to helpful, the creature gives in to most requests without a check, unless the quest is against its nature or puts in serious peril. Some requests automatically fail if this request goes against the person's.
Yeah, I would argue the divine flesh probably doesn't actually have teeth or anything to chew with properly.
Yeah. Right, it's the automatically fail if it goes against their personal use.
Yeah, and that for him because in the article on the Green Faith from Wrath of the Righteous that was reprinted in in Ultimate Wilderness, it says that neutral good followers of the Green Faith are often vegetarians, and so
yeah, that makes sense.
I obviously that was. I didn't actually even do that. That was just like a little joke. But yeah.
It's.
I've IRL converted people from being a vegetarian, so I'm quite happy with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't the Green Faith just buy rungs of sustenance or like make them and just no need to eat at all? No vegetarian or
but that's expensive.
Some of them probably do, but yeah, it's not infinite money with which to just do that.
I'm sure they can be mass produced.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, Goodberry is the default, and then probably mass-produce rings.
What if Goodberry has feelings, though?
Magic. But that is true. Plants do have, like, feelings and networks for that shit, so don't eat plants either, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay, how about this? What if I created a hamburger with create food and water?
Then I would say Singing Flock would be fine with that.
Okay. Yeah, I would 100% switch to lab meat if it tasted exactly the same and was at a similar price point.
And quality.
I mean, I think that's kind of an obvious thing where, you know, once that happens, everyone will look back on meat eaters the way that they look back on slavery or whatever.
But the funny thing is, it will actually be way worse for animals at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have like so diminished numbers. It's gonna be insane.
Well, if you look at the numbers of non-cultivated creatures, it's so fucking low.
Yeah.
Okay,
plus,
but
the shit that we've done to like cows and sheep, just to make them better.
Yeah. The thing is, like, the lives that pigs, cows, and sheep and chickens have in factory farms are much worse than if they simply did not exist and had never been created.
That's debatable, but I see your point.
I see your point, but
it would be much better if those farms simply didn't exist and none of those animals had ever existed.
Yeah, but that is not the case.
We've gained way too much from that.
For the animals, I mean.
It's better to exist and die than to never exist at all, probably.
Yeah.
No, it's better to not exist than to live life under hellish conditions.
I can agree with that. Like, I'd rather not exist at all. I wish I was joking, but okay. Thank you guys for laughing.
Well, one generally laughs at a joke, so I think that is sort of how they interpreted what you were saying.
That is the default.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, to a certain extent, everybody feels like not existing from time to time. So.
Yeah, well, it's like a constant 23/7. You know.
Yep.
It's a bit more.
From time to time, meaning anytime I'm awake.
From the time that you're born to the time that you die, from time to time.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
So part of what Zenray during this week will find a child, probably a young boy, and give him her Amulet of Natural Armor +1 that was a hand me down, now is a passing on to someone else.
We're going in an entirely different direction.
Or she's trying to earn some money on the side. Either way, no. She'll give him a kiss and give him the amulet and say, "I'm sure you'll be a great warrior one day. This will help you on your journey."
I was expecting curse them with my pregnancy, but yes, that too.
She does notice her pregnancy by now, right?
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
She's starting to notice. She's developing a little bit of a tummy, and it's becoming. She's starting to get some morning sickness, and a bunch of other things are happening. Someone make a heal check.
Not it.
I could do that.
No.
I don't think that would be me. I don't think I have that skill.
32?
Nope.
Yeah, you recognize that she's a little over 2 months pregnant at this point.
Okay, I assume that she's also aware of this, and I tactfully don't decide not to say anything and leave the decision up to her as to how she wants to deal with it. And as far as that, I mean, like, I will let you adjudicate that. Do you think she would, like, quit or want to stay home? I would, if you ruled that way, I would
You've generally been in control of her, so that's your choice.
Okay.
Do you know who the father is?
It's Flux's brother.
You know that. In all likelihood, she does not.
That was the only encounter that we played out. It's possible she had others. She's
a cleric of Kallistra. It's entirely likely that she had others.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't know.
But we have magic that I'm sure could suss it out.
Yeah, if
we want to do that.
Through commune or divination, you could figure it out. I will assume that you do that if that's what you think you would do.
She will do that on her own, and she will, essentially that's what she would. I mean, there's no way she wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
What color is your brother?
That's racist as fuck, man. Nasamar as well, so I'm assuming pretty pale.
God damn it. Sorry.
So, yeah. And that means that the child will also be an Aasimar, because...
There's a 50-50.
I'm to understand the child would be 1/8 Celestial. So...
The way that it works from what I've read is, as soon as those bloodlines exist, you have some percentile chance of it manifesting.
So, here's how I understand it. The child of an angel and a human is a half-celestial, which is a monster template that no one is allowed to play as. The child of a half-celestial and a human is an Aasimar. That's your mother. The child of an Aasimar and a human is reasonably likely to be an Aasimar. That's you guys. The child of your brother and Zenray, a human, could reasonably still be an Aasimar, or
Zenray is a half-elf.
Well, regardless,
that's human enough.
Yeah, that doesn't affect things for this purpose. That would just mean that the child is like a certain percentage human, a certain percentage elf, a certain percentage Aasimar. So she could be. So if I were to guess, I would say either.
We need to stop talking about this because it's really triggering me, seeing as how I'm actually studying genetics, and it's really fucking... We don't know anything about these traits. We don't know if they're autosomal. We don't know if they're sex fucking linked. You can't just talk about it like that. So,
I mean,
let's stop before I get triggered.
These aren't
you can have fun with that. That's
these are like large. These are like large numbers of traits. This is more like an issue of like two subspecies mixing. Then
yes, exactly.
So I will say my father was human, or is human.
Yeah.
So that would skew things a little towards human, I think, overall.
Yeah. So I have kind of a concept of what the child would be. Probably a half-elf in terms of race. with maybe the Celestial Sorcerer bloodline or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, the child is entirely up to you. That's beyond my scope as a character
All right.
to control.
But yeah, if Zenrei desires to continue adventuring, she'll be fine. I mean, at 2-3 months, it's not going to impose mechanical deficits on her.
We just have to tiptoe around her in the morning.
Yeah.
She will be grumpy in the morning when she's sick.
Yeah, she will be more cautious, I would say, and less likely to take risks than she might have in the past. And coincidentally, she just also got access to her her level 8. It's funny. Her level 8 cleric powers were delayed due to various circumstances. So now she has the travel domain of being able to move, like the wizard does.
So I'll establish a few things just in case they come up. Spells like teleport and shadow walk. Like if it's a matter of teleport treats the fetus as part of her. Spells that target X creatures are going to treat the fetus as part of her. So you don't need an extra teleport slot for the unborn baby. Though you could probably choose to exclude it if you wanted, if for some reason you wanted.
Oh fuck!
That's fucked
You
up.
just fucked up my brain.
Oh my god! You
We-
can't.
All right, reduce person on the mother. Don't target the fetus.
Oh god!
Even worse.
Yeah.
This was weird.
This has gotten from bad to worse.
Yeah. However, if she dies and you resurrect her, you do not automatically resurrect the baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
that makes sense.
How about Breath of
Yeah.
Life? Similarly, or
In the time
50% chance.
in 6 seconds, the baby will not have died.
okay. So, but okay, one more final one. If various effects that are just like she takes damage, like not lethal, just amount of damage, is there a chance she'll lose the baby based on certain conditions or certain other damage or things like that?
Unless there is some special reason why she should lose the baby due to the specific thing that happened, I will assume that hit point damage that is later healed, that any damage done to the baby is healed along with her hit points.
Okay.
The baby cannot sustain damage though. Like 1 point of damage would kill it.
Yeah.
I don't
But that's
consider it a
all the
separate
magical
creature from
bullshit.
her for any purpose other than resurrection spells.
Okay,
that seems fair.
So even if it did get to the point where it was severely damaged, the cure spells regard her healthy state as including the baby, so they would restore it.
hmm a lot of this comes down to things just aren't tracked in certain ways that
Mhm.
Yeah.
are help. So it just makes it a lot easier. So that makes sense. That's everything that I wanted to get done, and we'll figure out crafting after the session.
All right.
Yeah. Is there any officials we need to suck up to in this time?
We are the ones being sucked up into the.
Yeah,
That
I
is-
think
that
we
is-
have them pocketed.
That is the case. And you did spend a significant portion of the last adventure getting some people on your side, and of a previous adventure likewise.
Yeah.
If there's anything you want to say to or suggest to Julia Benilius now that she's making decisions independent of the Chelish government, slavery is already illegal. That took approximately 2 seconds.
The restoration of my order.
Yeah, that too took mere seconds.
All religions are free to be worshipped.
She does not agree to legalize the worship of Gyrona, Rovagug, and Lamashtu. And probably several others.
Yeah, some of those require human sacrifice. So
Okay, anything where the act of worship is inherently an evil act, I would agree to. If it's just an evil god, I wouldn't necessarily agree to making that believe.
Do we finish the museum?
Yeah,
the museum is never finished.
Well, yeah,
Well,
but in 6 weeks you would be able to get the museum up and running with the museum to where it is complete, as it were, even though you're not done with it.
Mhm.
Like, we can add more stuff, but it's usable now. People
Yeah.
can come in and see.
Yeah, it is a functioning museum.
Awesome.
I'm going to spend some money here for this one. I'm going to gather all the wizards from the college that can actually do creation, object restoration, and everything else. And we're going to do a grid sweep of the city of repairing roads, repairing buildings, making shit look better. This thing's not sparkly enough. Prestidigitation, that light bulb.
Awesome. I'm gonna buy houses from desperate people.
I'm going to throw a 40K at that because wizards need to be paid.
All right.
Do I find any buildings that can be bought? Go ahead and answer Leon first.
People know that you did that, and they're thankful, and remind me to take that into account when you interact with Kantargans in the future.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... You actually really don't, because the thing is that the death toll was pretty minuscule. So there's really not a lot of people, especially after Leon went and repaired all of them, who are out to sell their houses. So you don't find any more than normal.
Yep, and the harbor's fucking fantastic. We've got a population boom going on and a trade boom. The market's great.
Yeah, people... There's... Like, it's already a thing, slaves running into Ravounel. That's already started to happen. Slaves and worshippers of illegal gods that are illegal in Cheliax, and all sorts of people who don't want to live in Cheliax are basically running into Ravounel just unceremoniously.
I would like to start making a bit more bureaucratic stuff and start registering everybody that comes in and out.
Yeah, we
So
need
that
to have a grid
Trade
to make these people useful for the community.
And just for chaos not to roll.
Yep,
Yeah.
immigration's important.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, many of them are worshippers of chaotic gods, but I mean, it's not as though they don't intend to get jobs or anything. I mean, they're coming to have life.
Yeah, and to have life, they need to have a living.
Yeah. Jilia makes a declaration that escaped slaves are unconditionally welcome in Ravounel.
So do we need to establish shelters for all the people that now are without home, without work, without means of surviving?
Well, if they've got magical aptitude, the college was just funded a shit ton, so...
Yeah. You personally don't. The city is a city. It can take in immigrants. It's equipped to do that to some extent.
That's what we were going to do that with the old temple of, was it Asmodeus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
We were going to turn that into a religious, a free worship religion center, as well as place of respite for any travelers, any immigrants. That's your first place to go. That's until you get a more permanent settlement. Yeah, it's not a permanent place to stay, but it's a hostel type place where you can.
Yeah, that's a really good idea too, because it's centrally located and really easy to get to the trade districts and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people do start coming there. Like, almost like, honestly, you're seeing, like, adventurers are teleporting like full castings of slaves to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this wizard who works with some abolitionist group called Liberty's Edge, and he's basically making trips, bringing slaves in to Kantargo.
That's awesome. That definitely needs to be like a story campaign or something.
Yeah. I mean, Liberty's Edge is real, so... Yeah.
Cool. So 6 weeks happen. What happens after 6 weeks?
At the end of 6 weeks, what causes us to zoom back in on the timeline is you receive, or rather,
Actually, there was something that hasn't been resolved yet, which is Lucy's like imprisonment and stuff.
Right.
The ransom and shit.
So, during the 6 weeks, if you allow her, the aunt will visit you personally.
Awesome.
She walks in. She bases a matter of negotiation, essentially.
Mhm.
She walks in. She has something of an entourage with her. And she enters the city. If you ask, you would notice she has been careful to bring only paid workers with her. She's
Yep.
not brought any of her personal slaves because she respects local law in general.
Good job.
And she is polite but terse with you about wanting her nephew back.
Cool. My argument for her is, to me, he's as good as dead. So, like, his death is justified by my eyes. So if you want him, you're gonna have to work really hard for him.
Let's see what she can offer first.
Was the
Like, this is
nephew
my
the guy
argument,
that
because we're not actually gonna do
bumped
negotiation.
in the head when we were at the estate?
Okay, several people talked at once.
Is
Joseph,
this...
this is- Okay, Torsov, this is a guy that we had imprisoned before you even came by like
Okay.
a few months. So don't
Yeah.
worry.
This guy has been in our care for a significantly long time.
Yes.
Because shortly before got to him,
That
shit
wedding.
started going down.
Yep.
And then I kept forgetting about him. So basically her argument amounts to, your rebellion is over. You've been at war with the Chelish government for... Well, you were at war with the Chelish government for a few weeks, but now your war is over, and it's time for you to return your prisoners. That's what civilized nations do. I hope you at least aspire to be such a thing.
She makes
Well,
a good point.
There is the matter of us taking care of him. He was not cheap to feed, you know.
You're right, but prisoners of war are returned after the conflict is over, and that's how countries
He's not a
work.
prisoner of war, dude.
He 100% is. We captured him during the conflict.
Yeah, well, we captured him specifically for a ransom.
During the conflict. He's an
How does,
armed enemy combatant. Well, he was.
I don't know. I'm really not that into the laws of prisoners. So if you say we just hand them over, we just hand them over.
That's literally how that works. There's some sort of prisoner trade, and then they get their people back, we get some people back, or something of equal compromise.
They do not have people to give you back, or else they would.
So some sort
So
of compromise would be in order then.
If you wish for an exchange of prisoners, I'm sure your ethics are such that you'd accept any damn halfling.
The problem there is that you don't see them as equal, and so we want multiple. In fact, let us take some of your rebellious element off of your hand. Do you have? Can you find out if there are anyone from the Bellflower Network in any of your prisons. We'll take them.
Well, a group of much more reasonable persons, otherwise similar to yourselves, did recently bust apart the Bellflower Network in Igorian, but it's not exactly... I don't exactly have the authority to demand all of them.
Can you get some of them?
I will see if any of them are on the auction block.
That's acceptable.
Nods. And of course she, unless... Is there anything you want to do to make that happen more quickly?
She'd be granted visiting privileges, supervised, of course. I intend to make sure he would have been treated well.
I more mean, do you want to wait weeks for her to go to Igorin and then come back? Or do you want to teleport there and teleport back?
That would be quicker.
Yeah.
You all.
Alright.
That's okay.
Adequately disguising yourselves should be easy enough that this does not go horribly awry.
Mhm.
She is able to get she's able to get a number of escaped slaves who were caught in the aforementioned raids. And something like 9 of them.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
9 of them, 2 of whom were officials of importance in the Bellflower Network.
Mhm. Yeah, if they get people back, that allows them to gain some information that they had lost and some locations.
The slaves are not in wonderful shape, but the aunt didn't have any direct control over that.
Mhm.
You feel like at the very least everything that those Bellflower networkers knew, the Chelish government now knows.
That's fine.
Other than that, unless something otherwise happens to make this not be the case, the exchange goes smoothly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
because treating our prisoners well gives us more leverage. In relation to other things Humam has said.
Speaking of leverage, it's only another couple of days after that happens that someone winds up in Kintargo. They teleport there, and they actually wind up outside of the city, like in kind of in a tree. And a merchant passing by notices that there is a person in Thrunish regalia, like a kid, like 18, 19. In Thrunish regalia, stuck in a tree, begging for help. This person gets them down. This person decides to be gracious and get them down. And by the time you hear about all of this, the person is already you meet this person at the same time you hear all of this happened. And they introduce themselves. Hello there. I am... My name is Tansis Thrun. I'm here for the Silver Ravens. Leon, he's looking at you, and he is just a little scared. Scared of your massive half-orc muscles and stuff, but at the same time, he knows that you dealt with the other case in a civilized manner, and that makes him feel a little better.
Diplomacy is important.
Yes, diplomacy is very, very important. I have this missive for you from the Queen herself.
What? The Queen herself?
I will read it for the benefit of the stream. To the representatives of the Silver Ravens, greetings once again from the throne of Cheliax. We trust that this missive reaches you in good health. In our prior message, we mentioned that we would be in contact soon to discuss further ramifications of Kintargo's situation. Though we have shepherded and cared for Kintargo for decades, we shall abide by your wishes and the stipulations of the Kintargo contract. We wish to avoid a protracted war that would serve neither the interests of the House Thrun nor those of your city's residents. We request negotiations between your organization and our representatives to determine how best to handle Kintargo's transition out of glorious Cheliax's domain. Our negotiator, Nezra Regalio, proposes a meeting at the Oak Rib Inn just west of the Minador Gap in 1 week's time. We trust that this region is familiar to you, as we understand that you have visited the Minador Gap before. Please respond via this missive's carrier if you agree. We hope to soon put these troubled times behind us. Her infernal magistrix, Abrogale II of the thrice-damned House of Thrun, by the might of Asmodeus, Queen and Empress of Cheliax, and of its other realms and territories.
Okay, so the first thing we do is we're gonna discuss this privately without the missive hearing us. So if you're talking, he doesn't hear us.
We get him to an inn and we give him some nice food and beverage appropriate for his age.
Yeah.
And have someone watch over him while we talk.
Who?
Yep. Octavia.
All right. He kind of tries to start up a conversation with Octavio, and Octavio sort of allows this. Go ahead and have your mutual conversation. Roll, by the way, roll knowledge, local, or nobility, or geography.
Local. Okay, I have all of this.
Fucking low roll for local.
All right.
8. So no, that doesn't meet it. Religion was one of them.
Religion was not one of them.
Oh, what was it? What were they? Sorry.
Local, nobility,
Geography or
geography.
7 and 8.
Having passed this place before, how much do we know about it?
You know what what in the note is talking about. I see a 26. That would probably give information.
Yeah, that is my history.
History would give you some background information on the Oak Rib Inn.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like we would have stayed there.
Yeah, you would have on the way to the Minador Gap the first time. The Oak Rib Inn is noticeably old. It's sort of designed to be a gateway to the Chelish Heartland, to showcase for the Chelish Heartland, to showcase people traveling from the Chelish Heartland. It's sort of the last taste of the luxury that offers as they enter into the more rural areas around around northwestern Cheliax. Kintargo is a big city, but it's kind of an outlier. This area, Ravounel is generally kind of a backwater. And it also, for people entering, sort of serves the opposite role. It's kind of a first taste of such things. There was a time in the past when it was actually kind of a decadent sort of place. It was said that they had a substantial room full of slaves of all countless races and appearances. They haven't done that since the most recent owner took over decades ago. They're much more laid back now than they're much less extreme now than they have been in more distant history. You also, I'll give you another thing with 26 knowledge history. You don't really know a lot, but you think you recognize the name Nereza Regalio as a Chelish negotiator and diplomat responsible for a couple of significant interactions between Cheliax and other nations.
How long do we have until we give a response?
It should be rather quick.
The week is in 1 week's time, so rather quick, I assume.
Yeah. How long do we have?
How far away are they?
Kevin said something, but I don't know what or to whom.
Yeah, that was quiet.
Oh, sorry. How far are they from where we are? Like, what's from the center of their keep or whatever to us?
Quite fucking far. You have no idea how they intend to cross that distance in a week unless they have magic.
Right. It's pretty. You cannot travel that fast. It's like 40 miles a day.
Unless you happen to have some kind of magic.
Right. Magic obviously makes it trivial.
It's so far that it's kind of reasonable to assume that they do, or else they wouldn't say a week.
So, but we don't know. We know. I guess we know he was in a tree. So, we don't. There's various circumstances that result in someone being in a tree.
I want to believe being in a tree is a product of their no Chelaxian military being in the town.
So if you ask him, he will explain that the boots he's wearing are magical and allow him to teleport. And he clicked his heels, and he was supposed to wind up in the city square, which he had seen a picture of, but as he was trying to concentrate, the cat jumped up to him wanting pets, and he kind of lost his concentration, and he was in a tree instead.
And I suppose it looks significantly different now, so that doesn't help either.
Yeah, he arrived off target, is what happened. I don't know if Boots of Teleportation actually allow that, I just threw it in as a joke.
I imagine it's as per teleport.
Puppy. So there is one big thing here. What are the actual ramifications of us going outside of Cheliax? Like, what kind of role do we need to roll to know what those ramifications are?
No, it's still inside Cheliax.
So Ravounel is becoming an independent nation. It will be no more a part of Cheliax than Andoran or Ustalov or Lastwall are part of Cheliax.
Yep. So my question is, what are the actual ramifications of it? Because it said in the letter that we're gonna go to discuss them.
Well, you can roll knowledge, local, or nobility to form guesses about what that might entail.
Right. To some extent, it's going to be, military troop withdrawments and trade agreements.
Well, yeah, but I'd
25,
like a bit more.
25 local.
Both you and your bird.
Local in there.
Is the 6 your bird?
33 local.
Oh, damn, he beats mine way.
Yeah, you certainly suspect a lot of what you just said, Leon. That the kinds of things that they would want would be to establish peaceful relations between your two nations, establish trade agreements between your two nations, basically establish the terms of your relationship with them now that you are two independent nations rather than a nation and a province of that nation.
One of the big things will be where to draw the geographical line.
That's basically completely established by the Cantargo contract itself.
Okay.
Yeah, but people like to argue that type of thing. See China and any
Yeah.
providence they are.
Yeah, the Cantargo contract, it is pretty rigorous where that is concerned.
Okay.
So it does define the borders of Ravounel very pretty precisely.
Yeah, we should
And-
take a copy of that with us, not the original.
Yeah. And of course, the devil who you spoke to, went down to hell to speak to, they can talk to as well. And so they almost certainly have a copy of the Cantargo contract to look over themselves.
So I was thinking about this specifically, Poppy. Could we maybe hire that devil that we talked to as like a lawyer for us? For more technical terms being used in those negotiations?
He does offer such services if you wish.
And
Is that
how much
something
would be the prices?
we would like to do? What is their price?
I suspect he's already on their retainer, but go ahead.
How do you contact him?
Well, first of all, I know the password for the hell thingy, so we can actually
Right.
get to him.
Right, but it's about getting there.
Well, there's the worm thing that takes
Yeah.
us there.
His minions in the front door immediately alert him to your presence, and he teleports out to meet you.
Awesome. We'll sit down and talk to him about it.
All right.
So,
What exactly do you say to him?
so we want someone to help us with these negotiations in the more technical terms, just so we don't get screwed over. And who's better at not getting screwed over than the ones who screw over, such as
You know,
yourself?
It would probably be best to have him act as a mediator instead of a lawyer for our side. It'll make them more comfortable overall.
That can work too.
He chuckles. He does offer his services as barrister, but not necessarily in exchange for mortal gold. It's not that valuable down here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
doubt I mean, magical items of some utility I may well be willing to take.
We have a pocket full of cursed things if he wants them.
That's a good point.
That
Those are
actually-
fairly good torture implements.
That does actually sound promising. Do elaborate on their nature.
Well, we have to discuss it. We wouldn't want you getting a hold of anything that could be damaging to people we'd rather protect.
I mean, they'll probably stay in his domain.
Alright, I'm going to be honest with you. There's probably nothing I'm interested in that won't damage anyone you want to protect. That's really all I care about doing, to be perfectly honest. Not people you in particular care to protect, but people.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Do we? Is this just a bad course of action? I out of character. It's just a bad course of action.
I don't mind
mean,
giving them to him.
he
Like, he's
wouldn't-
gonna hurt people
Probably.
anyway.
I mean, he wouldn't deliberately throw the negotiations for you, because he doesn't want to be the guy who deliberately throws negotiations for clients.
Mhm.
But I would be very surprised to learn that your diplomacy check isn't better. The
Right.
negotiations are kind of a mini game, bluff, diplomacy, and intimidate are all important. Let me actually get his stats up.
I definitely want to level up before we go to the negotiations.
Well, sometimes it sucks to be you.
Man,
Yeah, I don't
Just
think
next
it's gonna be
level.
a big enough deal.
just one more level and I can do intimidate, bluff, and diplomacy.
What stops you from doing that now?
Because right now they all suck, but when one more level I'll be able to use intimidate for all those skills.
Do you get a class ability that does that?
Yeah, it's a class feature.
Cool.
So,
I'll be unstoppable.
My
Odexadai,
bluff and intimidate are in the 20s.
He has bluff and diplomacies in the upper 30s.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And an intimidate in the upper 20s.
Okay.
His Go on.
What's the highest bluff we have? I'm asking. Does anybody even have bluff?
Bluff is 24 for me.
Yeah, you blew mine out.
Yeah, no go for me.
Okay, so we kind of need him for the bluff. The diplomacy we can handle, and the intimidate we can handle by me and Leon.
I don't know.
I think
He
with 20,
blows the shit out of my diplomacy.
I mean, my diplomacy is 37, so
Yeah, I know.
well,
We
there
can
you go.
handle diplomacy, and we can handle intimidate, but we can't handle the bluff, because we have nobody for it.
bluff in the 20s is pretty good.
Yeah. I think we'll be okay.
Sure.
We have time to get those. Isn't there the thing that adds +10 to the circlet of whatever persuasion?
It's not quite 10, but yes, circlets of persuasion exist.
+3, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it is +3.
You are free to purchase and/or craft those.
Circuit competence bonus. And could we get masterwork tools for these skills?
I'm going to say no. Because
Yeah, it's okay.
that's kind of not a thing.
Okay.
It's more about them knowing how to screw people over more than us.
I think we got that covered.
Do we have linguistics and sense motive, and how much?
No sense motive
My
Not
sense
here either.
and no
is
linguistics.
24 for sense motive.
Okay.
Like, that's decent,
that's
but I'm
pretty
not
good,
sure
yeah.
about it.
In the 20s is something I'm happy with. So
Anybody got linguistics?
No.
Ah, okay.
Nope.
Well, that sucks, but what can we do? Well, I guess, do you guys think we should not hire him?
I don't trust him.
I don't
Yeah.
think we need him.
I don't think either.
Okay. I will ask him and hire him myself about that. Just like specifically the ramifications, because he's probably more knowledgeable about these kind of things. So instead of us making the checks, he makes the checks for us.
All right. Before he gives you that information, he asks you what you have to offer him in exchange for information about what's happened.
What about a gauntlet of fumbling?
Whoa, I'll look up what a gauntlet of fumbling does.
It's one of the cursed items here. I just
I feel like those should go in the museum. Like, just put all the cursed items in the museum as what they're supposed to be, as the evil shit that we've collected off of people section of the museum, and then it's all useless cursed items.
Well, they're not
So if
useless because they're useful right now.
Right, but my point is, if anybody tries to steal it, they're not actually stealing evil shit. They're stealing cursed shit.
Which is still can be used for evil. You can forcefully put evil stuff on someone.
Yeah, but if somebody wants to steal rubber bones, they're going to steal rubber bones, and then they're going to be powerless.
You know, the
because-
gauntlets of fumbling are actually useful as something to put on a prisoner. So he'll make a knowledge local check in exchange for those.
Guys, I might need to cut early today because I think I'm getting a migraine.
Oh yeah, shit happens.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. I will know more in 15 minutes or something to see how this goes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, don't force yourself.
Yeah, we will see.
He can make nobility and local checks for in exchange for those gauntlets if you offer them.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
that's good. Yeah.
I'll put a dibs on them because I've
Okay.
already offered them.
Local nobility.
Holy shit!
That's not bad.
So he knows exactly what the he knows everything I've told you about the Oak Rib Inn. He also knows Nereza Regalio is a accomplished negotiator, said to be a wonderful person to be around. Some say that losing to her is more delightful than winning over other negotiators. But don't underestimate her. She's more than fierce at the table, quite skilled in getting what she wants, or else the Queen wouldn't send her after you.
This person is a bard.
That is correct. She's
Stands
polite.
to reason.
She's polite, trustworthy, has substantial bardic magic, including Shadow Walk. I imagine that's how she intends to get to the inn. She almost always has an entourage with her. I want to say there's a barbed devil who's her personal bodyguard. I feel like I've met him once. He doesn't really talk. Other than that, she'll probably have a party around about the size of yours, and she'll probably not want to enter negotiations without all of them. She's relatively trustworthy. I don't think you should have to worry about examining the contract too closely for deliberate loopholes.
Kevin, can you sense more of that?
I can. 24.
Okay.
36. But he has good bluff, so.
You sense no signs of deception.
Cool.
If he were lying, he would auto-succeed against that sense motive.
Yeah.
But you don't think it would be in his interest to lie to someone who had paid him.
Yeah, I know, but it just seemed like such an odd thing to say.
Yeah.
Especially for a devil.
I'm mentioning that because you guys are acting like you're nervous about that. So,
Yeah, we are.
It's just good to check from time to time.
yeah. He would be able to give you pretty extensive information about her. He also would come up with some specific issues he suspects would come up in terms of what she would want to talk about. Things he comes up with include, let's see, they would probably want to figure out trade agreements. I'm to understand that silver, fish, and salt are all things that Ravounel exports to Cheliax. They'd probably want to set prices on those and maybe make an agreement that a certain minimum percentage of those that you export are exported to them.
That's reasonable.
There would
Do
be...
Do you think we have the upper hand in this? Like, we can refuse and they have to? Do you think it's on equal footing?
Well, we do, because those are our exports.
Well, there are experts, but do you think we can, like, find somewhere else to export them if they're not gonna pay, like, a good price for them? Or do you think that they're our only choice?
Well,
Knowing...
go ahead.
Knowing Miss Regalio, I don't think she would embarrass herself by suggesting a fixed yet unfair price that she knew would be rejected.
Okay.
There's this thing that happens with trade agreements, where even though they don't need something, they're required to buy it because of contracts. A real-world example of that is that Japan buys shit tons of rice from America and just throws it in a warehouse because they have to.
Why do they have to
Are
buy
they
it?
obligated to buy so and so much?
Yeah, they are legally required to buy it because something about having multiple producers of rice in the world.
Well, okay.
And there are
probably-
also sometimes you want to buy some, it be grain or some resources which you don't really need, but you are preventing it from others.
Yeah, you have to have a set amount of production in order to produce more of that. So
Yeah.
guaranteed production is part of the contracts.
I suspect they would want to repair the Minidor Gap. They'd want to reopen land travel between the main country and yourselves, and I imagine they would start out wanting to split the payment between the two of you and control the territory themselves. Doubtless that would be something it was to your benefit to press them on. Kintargo has a large number, and I'm reading just the issues that are going to come up out to you right now.
Well, when we got a 50,
Yeah, well,
of course.
That's things that make sense anyway.
Yeah. Kintargo has a large number of artistic and scholastic collections, history, important objects. I would expect more than one group. Pathfinder Society is probably coming for you on top of the Chelish government, but they're going to want to do something to guarantee access to them. If you don't negotiate yourselves in such a way as to talk them down, they might want things like access to private collections. I imagine they'll also be worried about your university discriminating against Chelish nationals. They'll likely want to Far from seeking hostile relationships, I would expect them to seek an outright military alliance with you, up to the point of each of you promising to pledge troops to the other's military conflicts. You might be able to gain exceptions, things like being able to withdraw your troops after a certain time, a lower number of troops promised, or fewer promised, or a delay before your troops enter the fray in case a war is very short. In any case, I can absolutely promise Nazira would never humiliate herself by allowing you to get a better deal than her. Whatever terms Cheliax is expected to abide will be the terms Ravenel is expected to abide where military matters are concerned. Meanwhile, they'll want a non-aggression pact and probably some guarantee that you won't assist in war actions against Cheliax, not selling weapons and magic items to their enemies or possibly even other nations in general.
Do you think it's a wise idea, the alliance?
Non-aggression pact is the best bet.
Yeah, but the alliance is just too much because it's like a big state that's like probably like in a warring condition 100% of the time.
Well, that's precisely why it's a good idea. You have a single land border. You and Ravenel have a single land border. You have one neighbor, and they're one of the largest and most powerful nations in the world. Not to have an alliance with them would be at once ridiculous and suicidal on your part.
Well, they can't. If the only threat and ally we have is Cheliax, then it's best to not be associated with them. Because they can't
not how
invade
that
us.
No, I don't mean to say I think they would only want to have one ally. How,
I meant as us, as
Yeah.
in this our plane.
I don't by any means think that they would want you to never make alliances with other nations. I mean, that position of never selling weapons to other nations, that would be a starting point to negotiate down from.
Okay, out of character, is there any other nation that might be able to even invade our region, our entire region?
Nidal, it is
share a
right
corner
the
with Nidal.
Nidal, it is right the fuck next to you and incredibly well allied with Cheliax.
And they're a military theocracy, so we
And they
Not
they are exactly like Cheliax, except objectively worse in every way.
Okay, so we should actually get the
You
military
should
alliance
make
with
a
Cheliax.
logically, from a realpolitik logic standpoint, it is most definitely the correct and smart thing to do.
Good.
Yeah.
The only possible argument someone could give is that Cheliax are morally repugnant, and that they might manage to force you to participate in that, but that's something you can negotiate over.
Mhm.
Is get exceptions and circumstances under which you're not required to help them.
Yeah, sorry guys, I need to quit.
Yeah,
All right.
you do what you got to do.
Sorry guys.
So there won't be any
So-
combat.
Yeah.
The next week is Eastern, so we're on holiday, and I don't think I will make any of the sessions.
Okay.
Not
That's
Wednesday, and probably not Saturday.
What about Friday?
That's
Um,
included.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I will. I will be online, so I will let you know. But see it as a bonus if I'm there.
Yeah. Enjoy your week.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yep.
All right. So, I've basically read the module to you at this point. I've told you everything
Awesome.
about the negotiations. They want a couple other random pieces of information, and I'm going to now drift into speaking out of character about how they're going to work. The negotiations, as I said, are a mini-game. I'm going to go ahead and explain this now, even though there will be a little bit of role play as you guys arrive at the hotel.
Mhm.
There are 3 days of negotiations. Each day you discuss 1 to 2 issues. You guys are allowed to bring things to the table. Make up whatever you want. It's your prerogative. They will bring up the 5 things I mentioned in the order I explained them.
Go ahead.
Negotiations take place over the course of several hours. You make... someone in the party makes a diplomacy check, someone in the party makes a bluff check, someone in the party makes an intimidate check. The number of concessions you win depends on how many of those 3 you succeed. Every issue has 3 possible successions. For each issue, there is a number of concessions, either 2 or 3, which you must meet in order for blankety blank not to be worse for you later in the module. Now, the module does not plan for the possibility that you will find the default request they make reasonable in a specific case. Basically, how this is going to work is, the idea is that blankety blank magic thing will later be influenced by to what extent you have successfully made Rovenal independent of Cheliax, and to what extent you have left it as a vassal state. A convincing case made to me, the GM, by you, the player, about why the thing you're agreeing to does not render Cantargo more of a vassal state is an adequate substitute for completing the check. So, for instance, one of the ones, I'm looking for one that's a little more reasonable. So, like, the scholarly one, they're gonna ask for something pretty damn ridiculous. And I can't imagine how you could convince me that that's not rendering you more of a vassal state, if you agree to it. But, for the, and likewise with the non-aggression pact, they're gonna come right out and ask you not to sell magic weapons to any other nation whatsoever.
I assume that's Unnatural Non-Aggression Pact
Yeah.
as for real-world rules.
In fact, they will start out. They will start out not wanting to be bound to the same agreement, so they can sell weapons to your enemies while you can't do so to them. That no, but with the military alliance, the terms that will start out for it.
Maybe don't tell us.
I
Let
won't
us get.
quite. I'll say the terms that will start out for it are severe, but because they're agreeing to the same thing, you can reasonably say that you two just have a close alliance, and because your military is much weaker than theirs, you're kind of coming out on top. So I'd accept an argument like that as a substitute for. So like it's to. Because by default, it is assuming you will push on every issue.
Yep.
I'm going to declare a break, and I'm going to use the bathroom. I want you guys, over the course of the break, to think of issues that you want to bring to the table. So, do you want...
I want, like, non-discriminative actions against all the half races.
So
well, I mean, that's our country.
Yeah, so, asking them to change internal policies that have nothing at all to do with you is a non-starter. Here are some ideas I could throw out there for you. Kevin, you take 20 on a wisdom check, and you come up with just some random things. For instance, you could ask for a significant percentage of their export of slaves to be given to you with the knowledge that you will free them, which they will not care about and you will understand.
I was kind of thinking of that.
As part of your trade agreement, you could ask for them to give you either under the guise of a tribute, they could give them to you for free, or they could agree to a much larger number if you're paying for them, or even if you're like buying them in bulk. They could. You might want to insist that no one having had Ravounel citizenship can ever be legally considered a slave in Cheliax. You might want to ask for exports from them. You might want to...
do we know what their export goods are?
A setting book over across their nose if we need to look up with it. Feel free to download Cheliax, the Infernal Empire. Slaves are a major export of theirs. Different regions have different major exports. You might make an agreement that Ravounel citizen. You might make like a mutual extradition agreement, or a non-mutual one. Like you might say that Ravounel citizens are not to be judged in their courts. Ravounel citizens cannot be sentenced to damnation because that is a thing that they do because they have a spell for that. Stuff like that you might consider. Yeah, so I'm gonna be away. 10 minutes starts now, so at 2:38 or in 38, depending on where you are in the world.
Does any of you guys actually want the break, or should we keep talking about what we want?
I don't have anything specifically to do on the break. Kevin, how are you?
I think
that
you
a
just
statement?
committed suicide. I think you just committed suicide.
That's what that sounded like.
Kevin, no.
Do you want to put up your thing for we are on a break?
Will do.
I'm going to grab a water quickly, and then I'm going to go grab that Cheliax book.
If you could link it to me if you find it, I'm gonna go maybe grab a slice of
I
pizza.
have it already downloaded, which is why I'm able to grab it.
Okay, do you link to me the site you got it from?
It doesn't exist anymore.
That sucks.
Yep. So I'll be back shortly, and then we'll talk about shit.
Hello? Alright, everyone is gone. Internet's working. La la la.
I am back if anybody else is.
Just me, it seems.
I can't find the book because it seems I can't find it anymore, and I'm definitely not gonna buy it. So we're gonna have to rely on Leon, who has the book, unless you also have it.
I do.
I'm back. What'd it do?
I can't seem to find the book, so
What was it
we're
called?
gonna. Cheliax: The Infernal Empire.
Um,
16 bucks for a PDF. Hell no.
I have a physical
If it
copy
was written
here,
in gold.
so I'll have that to reference. It was released alongside this particular adventure path, actually.
Maybe it's a companion?
It's a setting book.
Yeah, it's campaign setting line.
Yeah, there it is.
You got it?
Of course I have it.
What is that supposed to mean?
That means exactly what that means. Let's see here.
By the way, Poppy, I'm sorry I forgot to do the opening theme for this episode. It's been so long, that's all.
A pirate's life for me.
I suppose it's under relations, maybe?
I don't know. I just mention it because I know that that book exists. I don't know if it has the information we're talking about specifically.
Well, PDFs have a search function.
What's the bulk of the Cheliax army? Like, in class?
Probably warriors. They would tend... There would be very few, if any, barbarians, and they would tend to fighters... warriors and fighters would probably be the bulk of them. Cavaliers also. Yeah. Warriors, fighters, cavaliers.
Did the Order of the Torrent have other, branches in Cheliax? Or was it only in Kintargo?
So, the only citadel is in Kintargo. The Order of the Torrent normally has most of its agents out and about in the world, just miscellaneously helping people.
Mm-hmm. I would like to maybe set up like an outpost for them.
Yeah. So that
Yeah,
they
like
can be...
a capital.
Yeah. You might be able to do maybe in Vigil.
Yeah, that does sound cool. Oh, if you put it in Vigil and I travel there, it'll be like triple crossover. Holy shit. But yeah, definitely on. Well, I'm gonna put it on the demand list or request lists.
I don't think there's anything specific about trade exports or goods. The
See, in
most I can see
agriculture.
is like warriors and shit.
Do they have agriculture?
Let me look.
Yes, of course they do.
I meant, like, do they have a lot of agriculture? Do they have, or do they rely like
I mean,
trade
it's its own
for
country, so
I mean, at the same time, you were kind of their biggest agricultural place, but they still have plenty.
yeah. But that's why they would want to guarantee some trade.
Do they have like an opium trade going for them? What do they fucking do with it?
I would say they do not have legal opium.
Most of their power comes from being connected to hell so well.
That and being like just a major, wealthy, large nation state.
Well, that's how they got that way.
No, they were
Do they
before.
have-
Hi, Kevin.
What are the two countries? I blanked on that.
Cheliax and Ravano.
Yeah, we're
that's-
becoming Ravenel.
Now, whatever that is.
If you look at the map, it's very easy to see where everything is.
Yeah.
Look at where Spain is supposed to be, and then look up a little bit.
Yeah.
Spain is basically Cheliax.
So I've got a few points here that were already mentioned. Does anybody else have any points they need to bring up or add to the docket?
I have a few.
Um, I just came up with the let's establish like an outpost for the Order of the Torrent in one of the cities or a few of the
Well,
cities.
That sounds like it's an our city kind of thing or our country kind of thing.
You can certainly insist that they tolerate the Order of the Torrents being active in Cheliax.
Yep.
You can raise that as an issue if you want.
Yep, I will raise that as an issue.
Okay, here are the ones that I have so far. Some of them are mentioned by Puppy. Some amount of slaves are given to us, either purchased or through tribute. None of our citizens can be a slave; they must be returned if it found to be a citizen of our
Respecting citizenship.
Okay. Slaves that enter Cheliax slaves that enter our land, Revenal lands, while not under the supervision of a slaver, are free to apply for amnesty.
I would say even under the supervision of the
No,
slave.
that would be too harsh. It's the runaway slave law of
Mhm.
of the Civil War, basically.
What if they run away right before our borders and they come into the city without their slaver? So they're
That
not
means
under
the
the
country-
supervision.
Right.
If-
While under the supervision, the slaver's rights are upheld. I think that is the most reasonable thing we could request.
Yeah,
Yep.
because if you don't do that, then it's theft and we have problems.
Right.
Yeah. Or,
But-
I mean, what it would be is it would just be a matter of it was illegal to bring people would just not bring their slaves into Vaunel.
Okay, that's another that's a good one.
But that's bad for trade.
Yeah, I could.
I mean,
Well, okay, going on. This is one. All Cheliax citizens who wish to travel to Revenau must submit a request for a visa, including slaves I'll add a codex, including any slaves they wish to bring along. So you need a visa from Cheliaxian citizens need a visa of some sort to travel.
okay.
So traders would get a permanent okay, you're a trader, you get,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and then travel will be a more limited for the next 2 weeks. You get the ability to travel, and then we can ban or not. We can allow or ban whoever we wish under.
Oh, Kevin, do you want to add a point for me? A slow withdrawal of non-native Ravenel, or I should say non-native Chilaxian military.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Basically, any forts and shit that they hold in our country, they pull back from it.
Okay, so Chelaxian
Yeah, Chilaxian native military withdrawal.
military presence removed from. Okay, I also
It's a
have,
thing they'd probably do anyway, but if
Mhm.
we don't mention it, then they can be sneaky about it.
I don't know the process. I'm sure the Revenau citizens shall not be molested or harassed while in Cheliax. That's another one. My point.
Mhm.
We would probably make the point to say, unless you have a specific business there, don't go to Cheliax.
They can't be trialed in Cheliax or donated. Or does that even fall under the not listed?
There's difficulties there with what would that be? That's not amnesty. What is that? That's
From Extradition.
extradition,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then the idea is if you have universal extradition, that means if their people commit crimes, then we cannot prosecute them. So it's a double-edged sword. That's something to discuss.
Right. We should probably respect extradition on both sides, except in the case of slavery.
You might also consider religious persecution as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, but what if the guy comes here and starts fucking murdering people in a ritual and then
Right.
just calls this a fucking religious act?
Capital crimes, religious persecution, and slavery are exempt from that. All lesser crimes will be honored.
Yeah. He was saying something, and then he turned into a robot.
Yeah, and just kind of fizzled away.
Because if their person murdered one of our people and then went there, they're probably not going to honor it anyway.
Mhm.
Maybe. That's extradition is a tough one because there's a lot of potential negatives there.
Yeah.
Because they could just submit requests. Oh yeah, your citizen did this. Your citizen did that. Your citizen did that. If they're starting from an evil place, if they're not being lawful, they're a lawful society. I think
that's the thing about it. So like, capital crime is probably not a term you want to invoke.
Yeah.
Because their understanding of what a capital crime is.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Extradition is a really tough subject because they could just have all of our citizens be in their jails if we.
Yeah.
They're not allowed some punishments. Like they can't punish in these ways. They can't torture. They can't damnation.
Right.
Stuff.
That's a good point. We should just set it up so that people who would be sentenced to damnation or similar crimes in Cheliax are exported to Ravenel for proper sentencing under our own laws. And we could do the same for them. I don't see a problem with that. Say a Chelaxian citizen goes in and does something.
Was it damnation?
I don't even know that they would. Yeah. They are subject to damnation instead of our less severe criminal system.
I mean, like the damnation thing, it actually is in the book. Like, they really can do that. It's like a 4th level spell.
Yeah.
It's 4th level cleric spell, and they don't... I mean, it's a card they hold a little close to their chest, because if they do that for everything, then... it's sort of like you want to save the death penalty for the big stuff so that people have incentive to stop and have things be more lenient. But it's for... In general, the crimes that they would punish with damnation are not the things that are actual crimes. They're the things that they don't like because they're authoritarians.
Mm-hmm.
One other question that needs to be resolved. Do you want to bring the T-Rex?
Yes.
That sounds a bad idea.
He has more mental stats than all of us.
You're
He has
right,
more intelligence than all of
but
us.
he does not have an understanding of global politics and law.
You don't know that.
Let me
Bobby,
see.
please prove him wrong. Please prove him wrong.
I'm gonna open the T-Rex's stats. And while I'm in there, I'll level him up, at least partially.
Cool.
He
certainly doesn't have the skill points to have any bit of
Keep
the
in
argument.
mind, he has 100 million hit dice from being an animal.
True.
So his intimidate is definitely higher than any of yours.
How much?
39.
Down. 34.
So a natural 1 is a 40. So with him there, you it should be impossible for you to fail any of those checks.
I mean, it's 11 higher than mine, so yeah.
I mean, let's see. He doesn't know anything about politics. That's knowledge, local, and nobility, both of which he is untrained. I mean, if he's there... I mean, he's not going to do anything ridiculous. He's not going to eat them. He knows better than to just eat random people.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the game doesn't establish between how intimidation works. Because political intimidation is different than "Rar, I'm going to be scary."
Yeah, in this context, I'm just assuming that he's very good at making himself sound like he's being serious. And I mean, being big, it helps you kind of put your being big and strong like he is, even if there's no threat of physical violence, it still kind of puts them off.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking T-Rex. Like, yeah, sure, from a political standpoint, he's not gonna do anything, but he's a fucking T-Rex.
Mhm.
So, I'm gonna buy him a Circlet of Persuasion.
Does Circle of Persuasion give you +2 Intimidate?
Yes. All charisma-based skills, including use magic device.
Awesome. That's a head slot, right?
Headband?
No, I'm pretty sure it's a head slot.
It's head, not headband.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll get myself one of those now.
Yeah. Circlet of Persuasion is a very good item. It helps with Handle Animal, it helps with the main ones, it helps with everything.
Okay, so I reworded one of them. Program for Cheliac slaves to apply for and earn freedom. This program must free at least 10% of slaves annually. Once free, these slaves must be allowed to free passage to Romanel.
I don't think you
That will
understand how
unquestion-
big 10% is.
That will unquestionably not be agreed to.
Yeah.
We'll see.
These are internal matters for their state, not external matters between us.
Right. So,
we will pay for how much does a slave cost? I know that's and how many slaves do they have?
I will get the book that explains how much a slave costs, because that exists.
And then estimate how many slaves they have, just for the purposes of these negotiations.
Yeah.
If it's not an act, you don't have to,
I do have sort of thoughts as to what I think she's going to ask regarding that. I will say, and this is something you would learn if you researched the woman, she is reasonable as fuck. Like, she's built to be able to negotiate with a party of belligerent murder hobos. So she is incredibly cool-headed, incredibly reasonable, and honestly will instantly make any concession that is not important.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's
like
good.
the damnation thing, she's just gonna say done to that. Like she'll just say okay. She's not going to demand anything for that, because that's such a minor thing. How many times per decade will it come up that someone in Ralvenel is in Ralvenel, and then they go to Cheliax, and then they do a crime worthy of damnation? Not enough times to worry about is the answer. So, let's see. We're going to get... Just because it amuses me, the T-Rex's 23rd hit die feat is going to be Skill, Focus, Intimidate.
Awesome.
Oh god.
So
I would. How many ranks can he put in it?
well, 1 per hit die, which is 23.
So he's at +6 from it as well, probably.
So his Intimidate mod is now 49. So a natural 1 is a 50.
Shit, that's
pretty realistic though, because like a fucking T-Rex that can actually come up with words as to why, that's a pretty fucking intimidating thing.
Yeah, the T-Rex should be intimidating. That is not an unrealistic thing at all.
Already, fuck, it's intimidating. Now it's threatening me. Come on, man, that's enough. I cannot deal with this bullshit.
He is also going to grab, actually the +3 to 3 stats headband is 10,000. He's going to grab that, or +1 to 3 stats, +2 to 3 stats rather.
Maybe get the even higher one.
Let's see. Headband of missile.
He doesn't need all 3 stats.
Yeah, you're right. He just he needs
Int and Charisma.
Yeah, he needs Int and Ka, which is 10,000 for a +2 to both of those. 40,000 for a +4 to both of those.
We don't want him getting dominated and monstered, so Goodwill would also be good.
He's a Magus, so he has Goodwill, and he's a T-Rex, so he probably has...
His will save is pretty... His saves are pretty decent.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and if you want to give him $20,000 so he can buy the +4 version, that's your
I already
prerogative.
gave you 150k.
Yeah, and I spent a bunch of it.
All of it? Okay, fine. So how much do you need?
So he has 23,000 left right now. Headband of mental prowess +4 is 40,000, so the difference is 17.
Okay, I'll give you 20k.
All right.
Uh,
He's down to
Okay.
3,000.
What did you spend it on if you didn't give him stats?
I did give him physical stats. Rings, cloaks, amulets, and the circlet just now.
Cool. Okay.
yeah, that money goes away quick.
Yeah.
Did you use the 10% discount?
Just now I did not. I'll add that in.
What about the other items?
Probably I didn't.
Well, 10% of 150k is pretty good. So
So I'll add that 15 back in.
Okay, that's fair. All right.
And
Yeah,
actually that
is it-
would mean he could afford it beforehand. So,
okay, I'll take back the 20k. Or if
okay.
you want it, you
So-
can keep it.
22 plus 27, 45. So he would end up with 5,000 and have what? Okay. So int is now 22. Ka is now 17. That means he now has a bunch of extra skill ranks. So let's just
Put them all into intimidate.
well, no, he
Um,
still has as many of those as he's allowed.
Oh,
Bluff and diplomacy, even though we're not going to need it, it makes sense for him.
Yeah, he can grab bluff and diplomacy.
I say give him some knowledges just because we're kind of falling on those of late.
All right, I'll tell you what. He will put some ranks into some knowledge. He'll put individual ranks into some knowledges just to have an extra check to throw around.
Yep.
And he'll
Okay.
put the two
So like
new
a
skill ranks per level in bluff and diplomacy.
Mhm.
So he'll now be fully trained in those.
So he does have two skills that need to be maxed out from the headband.
Yeah, and those will be bluff and diplomacy, is what I'm saying.
Awesome.
So other than that, he gets this level. He gets
Are we 16
or-
now? Because I don't know why you're leveling him.
No, I'm leveling
No,
him.
he's
You're
leveling
one.
the T-Rex.
You're an inch away from 16, so I'm leveling him.
Oh, in preparations. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not going to make a difference, I'll just treat him as having leveled up 2 seconds earlier. It's fine. So do Arcana. And he will grab knowledges in local, nobility, religion. I'm going to pick a deity for him at some point. And
Hey, Kevin, do you want to add a point for me?
Sure.
As part of the Alliance, mutual control over Deepmar and the Penal Colony.
Deepmar is physically in Ravounel, so it's
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll
you
make
will
a statement.
you will definitely have full control of it.
That's
I don't want full control of it.
Why
Okay.
not? Why not?
It's a penal colony. It's where they send all their terrible people. So I want them to take care of it to some extent.
I mean, are there Chilaxian criminals that were sent there?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, as part of the alliance, if they initiate a war, we don't have to go into it. Same for us. But if somebody initiates war against them, then we go in it.
Go ahead and write all this down.
Okay,
You'll
so-
be able to bring it up.
Give me a second. Sure.
It's as it's spelled.
Okay, so how about this instead? Chilaxian prisoners of Deepmar will need to be transferred to a Chilaxian facility.
It's a penal colony. It's not a prison.
Well, same difference. I mean, any Chilaxian, anyone sent there from the Chiliacs will need to be removed and handled elsewhere.
I
don't know.
think that's. I mean, they're put there so they can't go anywhere to fuck with people. We just want to give partial control so that if something happens, then it's going to be them that takes care of their people, because they are their people for the most part.
But then they can be controlled over our citizens in some circumstances. So I think that's a slippery slope. I think it's better if we each get.
I don't
control
think Grivenal
over our own.
citizens live there.
Yeah,
All that much.
we don't have people there. We just want to not control it fully, so if shit goes down, it's not entirely our mess to clean up.
It's a den of filth and villainy.
Right. I mean, it's effectively Australia, right?
Right.
Got him.
So what would what is Revenau? As the GM has to what is Revenau's interaction with Deepmar? What does that look like?
Pull up the map.
So Ravounal is was a province of Cheliax. Deepmar is physically in Ravounal the way that St. Louis is physically in Missouri.
Mm-hmm. So
Deepmar is 30 miles off of Vire.
Okay. Well, what I'm asking is on a day-to-day or week-to-week or month-to-month, year-to-year basis, what is the interaction like? Is there just trade?
Deepmar is an island that has a jail on it. There is no trade between Deepmar and anything. Or correction, there is slave labor being performed by the prisoners there, and the results of that go to the mainland, honestly probably to Cantargo. I mean, it would have been as the theoretical there's a word for it, the head of Ravounal even before, Gilia would have been nominally in charge of Deepmar, but it's not as though she could free all of the political prisoners there or some shit. It's basically was just an outpost of the Chelish government that now is yours, because it is physically in your territory and you therefore own it.
Okay, so based on our understanding of everything, I would assume there are people in Deepmar who we would prefer not to be in Deepmar because what they did was not worthy of Deepmar by Revenal's standard.
Yes, and you would have access to information regarding this.
I say
no need to give them control.
Yeah, I say keep control is the better way to go in that. But we give them the opportunity to any Chilaxian native. They can remove them if they choose.
And with the consent of the Chilaxians themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Write that down. You can bring it up at the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a much better, because we have people in there. We don't want to give them any control over something where our people are in there for no fucking good reason.
Well, that was my point of partial control. If all hell breaks loose, I'd like us to not be completely responsible for that.
Giggity.
That was not worthy of a giggity.
Yeah, giggity is the wrong word, but you kind of made a pun because you mentioned hell.
Yeah.
Giggity is the wrong word.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
But tish.
Yeah, sure. That works.
That would have been better.
But anyway, I think we're ready.
All right.
Okay, that's a good one.
So,
Oh, by the way, do the cohorts get the benefits of us being ranked in the rebellion, like we do? No, okay.
that question has probably come up and been answered already.
Yeah, that was. We had two cohorts, and you clearly answered that. So.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Well, that reminds me, Kevin, you might want to have your cohort pick up that thing that gives you a familiar, so she can deliver touch spells through it.
And
She has an H rod, so don't worry.
The familiar can help with the baby.
True.
What is there like? Is it a feat chain for that?
Yeah, there's a single feat that gives somebody without a familiar.
I'll consider it. She's not
Gain
using
familiar
feats
is the name of the feat, probably.
that she doesn't use her feats with great success. So I'll consider that.
All right.
So we can probably shadow walk there.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It's 400 miles. With the T-Rex, we'll be doing shadow walk regardless. It will probably won't. I mean, we can travel like up to 800 miles if we do a forced march, but we'll figure it out based on the
The
distance.
Minotaur Gap is not that far away,
So
is it?
Yeah, probably.
let's look at the map.
Like looking at it right now, we went
it's
to
multiple
Ravenel.
hundred miles.
We went to the Ravenel Forest in one casting of it, and like with
Mhm.
ease. I can see like it's about the same distance.
Okay. Yeah, it was like 100 miles, I think, for the forest.
Yeah,
Um,
and we have 400 miles, so at most it's like 200 miles. So no need for force march or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, it would take at most probably 2 days, but even that's probably unlikely. Okay, so I'm trying to look at. I'm looking at the map now. I see Cheliax.
Mhm.
Where are
So-
we?
Just above it, you'll see Vire as an island, and then you'll see the river.
Ravenal. I see that. Okay.
Yep.
Is that the River of Souls, puppy? I can't remember what things are these days.
Eulabus is the
Okay.
river's name.
What? I don't see our city name in there.
Kintargo is at
Oh,
the top of the river.
Yep.
Okay, that's Cantargo. Gotcha. I see now. And then that's. And then we're going to Minotaur Gap.
Yep.
With a natural.
If you follow the river to the left, you'll see Minotaur Gap and the inn on the map.
Minotaur Gap. There we go. So that is right there.
So the T-Rex on a 19 or 20 gets a 70 or a 71 to intimidate,
Good.
and
Holy shit.
like, and that's not taking into account the bonus they get for being bigger, I think. Let me check that.
We're approaching intimidate level that shouldn't even be possible.
I mean, skills in general, they don't really. They scale into insane degrees.
I think 50 is like an extraordinary legendary feat of like action.
So he does get, so assuming he's larger than his target, which will almost always be the case, he has a plus 55 to intimidate. So on a natural 20, he gets a 75.
Mhm.
And that's not even completely optimized, to be perfectly honest. But in any case, like, what happens to the person when a plus 75 intimidate? Like, in my mind, the person immediately kneels before them and offers unconditional lifetime servitude in exchange
No.
for not being eaten.
That's not how fear works. There's a flight or fight, okay?
I
Yeah.
think you should get him the signature skill. That way, it actually makes sense.
Oh yeah,
For
I'm giving that
intimidate?
as a feat instead of...
I don't know what signature skill does.
Signature skill unlocks the additional intimidate stuff. It's something that I'll be picking up later. It's like if for 5, 10, 15, and 20 ranks. So if you have 10 ranks in it and you go to demoralize somebody, instead of the default, they're panicked for one round or frightened for another round. At 20 ranks, it's cowering for 1d4 rounds and panic then after, and a will save negates the condition. So it's increased levels of fear.
Yep, it's pretty awesome on the intimidate skill.
Yeah, I will give him that. So that means without skill focus.
Plus 49, and
Well, without skill focus, he's down to plus 45 with 49, yeah, with the size bonus.
It's still pretty good, yeah.
Yep.
So he gets a 50 on a natural 1, so he should normally get the 21, the 20 ranks benefit, which is that the target is cowering for 1d4 rounds and panicked thereafter, which has an...
So, like, for the rest of his life.
There's a footnote. An asterisk increase means that the total duration cannot exceed 1 round plus 1 round for every 5 by which you exceeded the DC. So,
Yep.
in reality, for like 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so he makes an intimidate check and gets his fucking 65. Let's say that the DC to intimidate you was something reasonable like 20. So that's 45, so 7 rounds. For the first 1d4 of those 7 rounds, you're cowering, which means you are in place, dropping everything you held, basically in a fucking fetal position. For the remainder of those 7 rounds, you automatically drop everything you're holding and run the hell away from him.
This is why it's a good feat.
There's a will save, which is absolutely impossible.
It's ranks, not check, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's still in the 30s.
That's pretty cool.
32.
The diplomacy one is pretty cool too. If you get 20 ranks one, you can make someone's attitude change for weeks with a check.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he has 20 ranks in it.
So
With 20 ranks in Handle Animal, you can make your speech understandable to any animal for 24 hours.
that is I think I'll be building some of those. If you allow those, I'll be building some because that's for feet. That's totally worth
The feat itself is allowed. The problem with this feat is
you have to
people used to just have it.
You have to have very significant numbers of ranks.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is like it's a cool feat to have, and it grows as you grow. So I think it's a for a flavor thing. If you really want to build a diplomatic character, it's kind of a cool thing to add in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be just available for every character,
yeah.
I think.
In 2nd edition, you just have this shit. That's just part of getting skill ranks.
That is a cool idea. I like it a lot better. I think I think it makes it more fun to. Seals are just like, oh yeah, I put those in there. It doesn't really matter for a lot of the things. This makes it feel more valuable, and I think it's really cool.
Yep.
You can read surface thoughts as a standard action with a sense motive.
With a sense motive. Yeah, I considered getting that for the investigator.
That would be really useful.
That is really great.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be building.
It's like level 20 ranks, I think.
What's acrobatics? I want to see that. That has one.
It's not that great. It's like try not to provoke and shit.
Damn. So that's what I was like. Something that would make sense for that character. So. Yeah,
I know. I would definitely consider it, but because I can get the feat that's like a talent from my investigator talents. So instead of committing a feat, I can just commit a talent that I get.
Yeah, I already get most of that stuff from Swashbuckler, actually. Yeah.
So you gain a swim speed if you have 20 ranks in swim and have this skill.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
That does kind of make sense.
20 ranks in fly gets you flight.
What?
DC 35 skill check allows you to fly straight up at full speed. You're considered 2 categories larger when
you still need a source of flight though. It's just that you can fly straight up at full speed, which normally requires half speed no matter how you're flying.
Oh, I thought maybe I just decided to put.
You cannot just be screw gravity and then float upward.
I have forgone my earthly chains and start fucking floating.
You You have the penalties to performing a quick disarm as described in the 5 ranks entry. If you possess the trap finding ability, you can attempt a -20 penalty using blah blah blah. Okay, it's not actually as interesting.
Yes, some of them are really shit.
Climb speed for climb.
Makes sense.
You double the result of any acrobatics check when jumping and never fall prone at the end of a fall as long as you remain conscious.
Well, there's like a 500 fucking item that gives you that. And you land always on your feet and take 1 point of damage for every dice. Instead of rolling the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So just pay 500 and just forget about this feat. So, you know. Actually, I think the knowledge one is really cool. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was really, really awesome.
Roll twice and take the better result.
For the 20?
Yeah.
I remember it being a bit cooler, maybe.
Stealth is amazing. If you attack after using stealth, there's neither dex against all your attacks forever.
No, till the end of your next turn, or to the beginning of your next turn.
Right. So basically, all your attacks, as long as you continue stealthing it successfully each turn, you can just always stealth.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can't stealth if you're in the open, though. So I guess
there's a thing for that.
That's a limiting for. Okay.
Yeah, there is a thing for that.
So you could. I'd say like you
no,
can
it's a class feature, so not anyone can just do it because they wanna.
Right, but it's spread out well enough throughout the classes that it's viable.
Yeah, you can. It's hiding in Vigilantes can do it. You still have to. I think that there's still a qualifier. You have to have. There has to be dim light around.
Mm-hmm.
And you
So
can.
I think hide in plain sight now. There are like shadow dancers are required to be in dim lights. Some other classes don't need to.
Yeah, Rose Warden at level 10 can just fucking disappear even when being looked at.
Where do you go? Where do you go?
So yeah, that'll be part of the build at some point.
Survival. You take only a -10 penalty when tracking creatures that leave no tracks.
What the fuck?
So you check a bird?
Yes.
No,
yes,
a bird actually leaves a track. A bird actually leaves a track, like a ghost. That you can track.
You can track a ghost. You can track a bird that was flying through the air where it should leave no trace of its passing.
Well, it shits, so you know.
But
That's
still,
not the same thing.
You couldn't. You might be able to find evidence, but actually tracking it would be. It's not shitting every 5 seconds. It would be pretty fucking difficult.
I don't know. Tracking birds is pretty easy. People have been doing it for quite a long time.
Right? Yeah,
In real
totally.
life.
These are great. I'm definitely going to pick one of these for my next character. Maybe some of my existing characters if I can fit it in.
Yeah, they are pretty awesome. Some of them. Some
I
are
haven't
not
looked at heal. What does heal do?
Not that great.
It's not that great. It's applied to the long-term care stuff that no one uses because magic exists.
Yeah.
When you treat deadly.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you treat deadly wounds, the target recovers hit point and ability damage as if it had rested for 3 days with long-term care.
That's pretty nice, though.
Yeah.
Advantage in
when you're at like level 20, time becomes a real issue. Like you're trying to save time as much as possible. So giving someone long care doesn't really qualify. Like what we're doing right now, we're like trying to squeeze as much time as possible.
Yeah. So with the knowledge ones, you'd have to take the feat for each knowledge check?
No. I think it's just one.
You do have to take the feat for each knowledge.
I would say you have to take the feat for each knowledge.
That is bullshit.
It's your signature skill. What do you think that's supposed to mean?
That is some fucking bullshit.
It's the thing that you're known for.
Right.
Well, maybe they should start giving signature skill as like a bonus feat for every
They do for rogues.
Well,
like for every cat.
Yeah, unchained rogues just have a signature skill.
I know.
Yeah, it says 5 ranks in the chosen skill, so it would be per skill, per knowledge skill,
Disgusting.
per perform, per whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that immediately throws me off. There is this talent that the investigator has where I can take 10 on every knowledge check, whenever, whatever.
Mhm.
And if I want, I can spend an inspiration to take 20 on it. That's fucking insane, dude. Just imagine, we're like being attacked, and I don't know what's going on, and I just take 20 on it, and I know everything about the creature. Anyway, I think are we gonna do some negotiation?
That's your choice if you want to. Oh, the question you asked about slaves.
Right.
We had a question.
Basically, the questions I want to know is
Oh yeah, prices.
cost of a slave, how many slaves they probably have, and like the GDP of Kintargo
So
or Revenau, I should say.
Yeah.
you are completely sure that the number of slaves that they would be willing to give up to you would neither make a dent in the number of slaves they have nor the GDP of Kintargo.
So basically, my question, I agree they're not going to give us the free will, but like some program to buy slaves just for the purposes of freeing them.
Well,
Like how much
that's called buying slaves.
basically,
They
Well, yeah,
let
but
you
they're
just do-
selling them exclusively to us.
They
but
would let-
basically, yeah. The idea basically is a program of. Basically, I see the point, but existing slave, not just because my brain's going on. Giving a chance for existing slaves to be freed.
Well,
All right. Well, you can propose things, and she can propose things. I'm gonna get the prices here. Where are
Kevin,
you?
these kind of things are internal matters of their own state. I don't
No,
think we
if
can-
it's a matter of trade, you can if you want
yeah,
to
if
buy.
it's a matter of trade, but he's talking about like newly trades and
If you want to
freeing
make an agreement whereby certain circumstances cause them to offer to sell a slave to you and you can buy them, that's a thing you're allowed to do. So, a hard labor slave or a halfling slave, halflings are automatically more competent because they're small and can slip into things, is 100 in GP. An ordinary household slave is 50 GP. A specialized slave, think an expert on something, someone who can do craftsmanship, someone who can do some meaningful magic, that's 500 GP. Only crazy exotic special cases go above that. So it is inconceivable.
a guy with a deck so hard you can mount like a wheel on it. That's more than 500.
So I'm to be more serious and to explain myself, what I'm thinking when I say that is monsters. So like this isn't as much of a thing in Cheliax, but in I can't remember its name now, but there's a city that you guys went to in Shattered Star, Leon. This was around the time you were joining. Where it's the anarcho-capitalist city.
It just seems pointless at that point. There's no concessions to be made.
Yeah, they would just say that you can. Because they don't. I mean, on some very religious Asmodeans might to slaves being sold to someone who they know will free them, but on a governmental level, Cheliax doesn't care.
Right. I mean, at the same time, yeah, like a slaver, like you said, they could refuse to work with us, but it's hard to enforce in any regard. So it's.
I mean, then that if an individual slaver refuses to work with you, the government would say that that's not their business.
Right.
Kevin, you are going to receive a dream. In which the Queen of Delights. Do you remember her?
Sounds familiar.
From Vire?
Yeah, this is like two sessions ago or so.
The half or the tiefling from Vire.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
who you and Marco both own.
Oh, I'm 100% on board. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
What? Can we?
You were
I'm-
there
I
for
don't know.
this.
This is like the dance-off competition.
Yeah, it's the place where we acquired the T-Rex.
The Queen of the Lights, you mean?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
You know, we gave her presents. Had her
Oh,
go
I
through
thought he said
food.
Queen of Lights. I'm sorry.
That's all.
Holy shit. Yeah. Okay. I heard the lights as light instead of just the light. Okay. Keep going, puppy. Sorry.
So, she, in the dream, two things happen. First, she says, Flux, listen. Some of the cultists of Norgarbur around here, they're still upset about your, well, the way you rather destroyed High Finn. I'm to understand some of them are planning to interfere with the negotiations you're about to enter. I don't know precisely how, but you should be on your guard.
I don't think I can respond, but I will take that.
You
under
can't
advisement.
respond. However, unless something happened, unless you act to prevent this, the dream from there proceeds to become what they call a wet dream.
Delightful.
I
we
suppose I
have
would let that
we
happen.
still have 3 days, I assume, puppy.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we can just teleport to Vyre and solve the issue.
You could teleport to Vyre the next day if you wish.
Even like the same day, but okay.
Okay. I mean, this would happen at night while Flux was sleeping.
Sure.
So,
Do you guys wanna hop into there and fix the problem by finding the cultist and asking them what they're gonna do exactly?
We should send a letter to their delegation making them aware of this.
Yeah, definitely.
alright, how do you deliver that?
Well, we are in the inn right now, probably. Since we have
I would
3 days.
imagine they would have a representative at the inn before even the week started,
Yeah.
just in case. And so they would have identified themselves. We talked to them.
Module doesn't say they do.
Do you wanna roll as a GM?
If you want to say that they don't, then they don't, but that's semi-standard practice.
It describes their arrival. They're gonna arrive when...
Okay, so we leave a message with like the bartender, I guess, or we leave the T-Rex there.
I imagine we could just send a
Oh, we leave
message
Dorset
to-
there since he's not here with us.
Right, but we could do like whatever the message spell is to the dude that delivered the letter.
Oh yeah, that works too.
Alright. He receives the sending. His 21-word reply explains that they've already left, but he'll try to find a spellcaster who can send a sending to them.
Cool.
Wait, no, they haven't already left because they're going to use Shadow Walk, so yeah, he'll tell them.
Okay, cool. So let's shadow walk to Vyre. Can we shadow walk over bodies of water? I don't know how.
Where are we going to fire?
Because we're gonna solve the issue before it even happens by going to the cultists like then and asking them what they're gonna do exactly.
Okay.
I mean, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean they're probably not going to be there. They've moved by now.
They all moved just to commence this little operation against us. Sheesh.
No, I mean like we fucked their shit up. They probably don't live there anymore.
Oh, no, they do, but, I mean, what are you going to do when you find them?
Almost kill them, then intimidate them until they tell us exactly what they're planning.
Norgarbur is the god of secrets, so unless you have magic, you're completely fucked where that's concerned.
Oh wait, we do have magic. Wow.
I was thinking we had a T-Rex with a very big foot to shove up something's ass.
We can just kill them and like question the dead. Like speak with the dead if you want.
We
if you
have
need
a circle of truth or something as a scroll, right?
Yeah, I have that certain lies if they're gonna lie about it.
Mhm.
The problem is getting them to talk at all,
Yeah.
not just lie about it. Which is we can just kill them and speak with the dead. So, do you think that is gonna work, Puppy, or are you just not gonna make it work
No,
because you're a
I'll accept that.
Okay.
So you go there. Give me a knowledge local.
Can we just ask like one of the lights where they are?
I
Or
mean,
we
he doesn't.
maybe
Yeah, I guess
34?
we'll put-
has
that's fair.
reports. She probably has reports about it. I'm not saying like
Okay.
exactly where.
You can stop talking now.
I would.
So yeah, with 34, you know where to find them. I'm going to assume that there are no serious threat to you.
Opposition.
Yeah, that they constitute no serious opposition to you. Yeah.
That's pretty nice, Kevin.
Give me okay. So you get them in front of you. You successfully capture them. You have 6 captives.
We take one in like one room. Keep them all like isolated from each other.
All right.
Bound, gagged, the whole shedilio.
Okay.
And we go talk to them one by one.
All right. And what does this consist of?
There's an easy way and there's the hard way. The hard way is you telling us right now. The easy way is us killing you and and then speaking to your corpse. Do you prefer the hard way or the easy way?
Okay.
Here's an intimidate check.
So, you frighten them quite a bit with what you say. And they respond by biting their tongues off.
Kevin, can you prepare regeneration?
In theory, sure.
Okay. So we prepare it, we kill them, we do the shedilio with the speak with the dead.
Regeneration does not work that way.
We regenerate them right now when they're still alive, and then we kill them and speak to the dead.
Upon you regenerate, so you regenerate them while they're unconscious, I presume?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beat them up with non-lethal, regenerate, kill them.
Or you sleep.
Yeah, sure, that works too.
Regenerate, death. Alright, they will make will saves.
Speak with dead. I think it's like a 3rd level. 10-minute casting time.
This is only the first prisoner, Puppy. The rest, if we're not, they're all gagged, so they can't bite out their tongues.
So that would be.
Yeah, no. I will not accept you retroactively gagging them after hearing that they have
I told you they're bound and gagged! I specifically said that!
He did.
I'm not sure that being gagged prevents you from biting off your tongue.
It totally.
Yeah,
Definitely
it prevents
does.
you from biting down.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have the. So that would be a 25. Save twice. Take the worst.
Alright.
How many questions do you get, Kevin?
One question for 2 caster levels, so 7.
Okay.
You guys need to actually figure out the questions because I had, like
You're the
mine
one-
are so
This is
like
your
the
game, man.
actual spelling of the questions because mine are so bad that Poppy's just gonna fuck us over.
It's your rodeo, man. You're the one that wanted to do it.
Okay, what were you planning on doing in regards to the negotiation between the Silver Ravens and the Cheliax government?
I was just going to stay here in Vire.
God damn it. See, guys, I suck.
What do you
Okay,
know
so-
of the organization's plan to disrupt the negotiations?
I know what they intend to do and how they intend to do it.
What do they intend to do, and how do they intend to do it?
That's definitely 2 questions.
Okay, those are my
Um,
next 2 questions. Well, that's 5 total then.
So,
No, that's 4 total.
yeah, it's 4 total. So,
4 total.
what do they intend to do? They intend to
Stop the
assassinate.
negotiation.
Disrupt. You know what? You're right. Disrupt the negotiation. How do they intend to do it? By assassinating the delegate with whom you are negotiating and making it appear that you did it.
Okay, that's very clear. Okay, so we got some good information there. Who specifically is going to be carrying out the assassination?
An assassin.
Who specifically?
His name is Craig.
Yeah. You get the name Bijakra.
Chakra. Okay,
Can we roll on as local?
You can roll knowledge local.
that's Leon. He's the best at that. Maybe T-Rex. I'm not sure.
T-Rex has like 1 rank in it, I think.
Yeah.
19. Low roll.
Uh, T-Rex will try. It's possible that he'll do better.
So, for the record there, the question you wanted to ask was where do they plan on assassinating this person?
You still have 1 left.
Ah, hey, there we
So,
go.
Bijakra is an assassin who worships Norkerber, and that's the end.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough. I think.
Maybe we should ask them.
We can ask other people. We can do another again with another assassin. So we're not like
Yeah,
out of
definitely.
So, the where question, you still have 1 left.
Maybe we should ask about where exactly it's gonna happen.
Well, one thing I want to know, either with this one or the other one, is where do they live? Because if I have an object that they own, I can find out where the hell they are exactly.
Okay,
Not
yeah, that works.
like the building they're in.
Your call?
So which one do
We can just do it again. Don't worry about it.
So basically, yeah, where is this assassin? Where do they live? Like exactly, give me directions to the exact location of where they live.
I don't know. I'm just a guy in the cult who hired them.
Damn it. Okay. Repeat process with second. Okay, not. I guess he's just dead now. Repeat process with second cultist.
Yeah, he probably doesn't know the entire details anyway.
This time we ask what exactly it's gonna happen. Right, guys?
What was the DC to avoid Speak for Dead?
25.
Alright.
Yeah.
And you rolled.
Actually, it'd be 23 this time.
Well,
Okay.
it's still.
Well, yeah. So, do you ask where?
Do we agree on that, guys?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
Probably wherever you intend to meet.
That makes sense. It can't happen unless we're both together. Oh shit! I think that spell. Damn it! I need to level up for that spell. Damn it!
Tell us all you know about. I say the name of the assassin.
Well, I know who she is, what she does, and how she does it.
I told him to tell us all he knows.
That's
So
useful.
He told you he told you everything he knows.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
But
He gave you the topics of conversation. The next question is, how do they assassinate people?
With a knife!
That's actually good, useful information.
what do they look like exactly? Describe them.
Brownish half-elf, purple eyes, short black hair. Yeah, that's about that.
Cool. I got
Okay,
nothing.
so we need to go back to town because there's that the school for half-elf ladies or whatever that may give us some more information.
All right. There's,
I'm not sure.
you have
They
five.
are the Cantargo spy network.
You have 5 questions if you want to use any of them, and you have 4 prisoners who Vire does have who you. Yeah, you have 4 prisoners.
I don't think I don't have any more questions, guys.
By the way, the Queen of Delight may want to have some conversations with you about illegalizing slavery in Vire, but that's another. Actually, I say
Is
that
that a
no,
problem?
they wouldn't. I was thinking maybe it would be because they're supposed to be this Las Vegas pleasure city, but actually no, some of their principles would be such that they would already not have slaves. I say that. I'm going to check again because there's an article on Vire in the 3rd module, so I'll get back to you on that.
Cool. Anybody got any questions? I can't think of any.
No, not specifically.
Cool. So, you wanted us to go to the spy network, Lady, and ask her?
Yeah.
Or go? Kevin, can we still do Shadow Walk in the same day, or can we only do it once a day?
Did I have to do regeneration?
You did have to do regeneration.
Yeah.
Then we probably have to wait another day.
Yeah, we're running
Oh,
out of time. We may just want to go there.
Could we just take a boat to Cantargo, since that's the city where we're...
It's probably
That's
too far.
time.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
far.
Well, it's still making something happen the same day, instead of waiting in
All
Vire.
you would learn from the spy lady would be a few more details about the assassin.
Cool.
She's skilled. She works for Norgerber. She has like 10 levels of assassin.
10 levels of assassin?
Yeah. So they're on our level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's meant to be a meaningful difficulty.
It's meaning to be, but it won't be.
No. See,
It
the
might
lucky...
be. Death attacks are a thing.
Yeah, death attacks are a thing, and though it is still kind of lucky for you that the diplomat will have max hit points, because that's how that go.
Cool. So, this is like the next day since we talked to the spy master, I guess.
The next,
So we can
yeah. The next day would probably be when negotiations would start.
Yeah, so we need to be there.
Okay, let's teleport. Kevin.
Alright, let's get you onto the proper...
Before the negotiations start, I would like to tell them exactly what the assassin looks like and look around myself to see if I can spot them.
we're gonna actually roleplay.
Before we get there, would there... Well, one of the questions I'd have asked the dead person or another dead person if we require another one is there a specific knife that they use?
No, there would have been, but you kept them from getting it.
Oh, it was that curse
Yeah.
turns you into a serial killing knife?
Yes, that fellow. No, wait. No, or, would it be? Yes, that fellow, yeah. But you kept them from getting it. So...
That's interesting.
Had you not kept them from getting it, they would have had it, and the adventure would have proceeded accordingly.
Oh. Okay, so that guy could have escaped and taken the knife with him.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You remember there was a knife that if you take it, it turns you into a serial killer?
Was that the Jack Ripper arc?
Yeah,
I wasn't
No.
there for that.
maybe.
I was gone all of those sessions.
Darby might have been there for that.
Oh, then I
Darby-
definitely wasn't there.
Darby hasn't been here for any Hell's Rebels in months.
Yeah, well, it's been a really long time since we dealt with that knife.
The first one, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that guy. You had the knife in your possession. High Finn was supposed to try to steal it during Song of Silver, but you shut that the hell down. So,
By killing her.
yeah. By killing her before she could even make the attempt.
Yeah, Seek the Taken is really cool. So we arrive before them or after them?
It's still before them. When you first arrive, you would meet the hotel manager. Let's see. He'd give you a tour of the hotel. It's kind of fluff and kind of not that important. But you would meet you would meet them. You would meet the cook. You would meet the gardener.
I would like the perception on all of them, just to see if any of them has a disguise, or do I need to touch them for that?
For illusion magic, you would normally need to touch someone for.
Or you could, I think for illusion magic, you could take a move action too.
Yeah, I
just
think you can
It's a
study.
standard, but yeah.
You can take it. You can take an action to study them.
Okay. So here's the perception. He does save.
All right.
It's a +4 on compulsion and 2 on enchantment. This macro is for level 16. So
Okay. So it's in the 20s. La la la.
if anybody wants to do it as well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was looking something up. What's going on?
We're looking. I'm like studying every person in the staff of the hotel to see if any of them is disguised or has an illusion on them.
Okay.
So if anybody else wants to do it, somebody with like maybe a 35 perception.
I don't have that high.
It's 35.
only in certain circumstances.
Okay.
33 when in not those circumstances. Go ahead.
50 perception.
I hate you so much.
I can see invisible things pretty easily, probably.
You know what we really should have done? I wish we could have done this, is had your bird, like, hang out over there for a day or two and just kind of listen in. See who looks normal and who doesn't.
I'm not comfortable with Bird being alone. Bird is our friend.
So, from a standpoint of not knowing what to normally look for in any of these people, you're not going to be able to see through a disguise.
Well,
Spending a move
Okay.
action gives you
yeah. I was getting to that. However, the gardener is glamored as fuck.
Okay. Do you want to do combat or?
How do you react to the fact that the gardener is glamored as fuck?
slumber.
Well, yeah, slumber.
Alright, I'm gonna give them a sense motive.
Against our bluff, I guess.
Yeah, just
My-
to see if you get a surprise round.
Cool.
Bluff.
Here is me bluff.
It'd be my bluff, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm
I
the one
think it's all of
I'm the one
us,
perceiving.
but
I'm the one that's doing the spell. The
Yeah.
hex.
yeah, sure.
32 bluff.
All right. I
If somebody doesn't have sense motive, do they just immediately fail and then take a
Uh,
surprise
in this
round?
case, what I'm going to do is give them their perception because that's similar in this context.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, you don't get the jump on them. We're going to roll initiative.
Okay.
Also,
Let me get the let me clear it first. All right. We're going to roll initiative. I'm going to see if they
why did I roll saves like an idiot?
I'm going to see if they blatantly lose
buttons are
to
all same
you.
color.
Only if they, yeah. So actually, they do get higher initiative than you, Flux. So we're gonna put you guys in the garden.
Cool.
Where this would happen. So, let's see. T-Rex can't fit.
In the garden?
You'll see.
That's a pretty tiny garden.
Ah, it's one of those, okay. Kevin, this might be a bit, like, important. Do I actually get my amulet crafted? Because if so, I can do. Never mind, it doesn't matter since we have
Your
Zenrai.
was from loot.
No, I put it in craft to upgrade it or like add an effect to it. But never mind, it doesn't matter since we have Zenrai. She can just purge invisibility.
Okay. So let's sort.
I will 5-foot step to her and do a full attack with a haste round.
All right.
She is considered human, I assume, since she's a half elf.
Yes.
So third lowest is 26 against Flatfoot. Oh, she
26.
might not be considered Flatfoot because stuff with rogue and assassins.
That's a good point. Has effect. She would. See, she's a. I would just. I'm just gonna assume she's not Flatfoot because it makes sense.
Yeah, does make sense. So 26 against her.
Even if she were Flatfoot, 26 wouldn't be enough.
33,
Screw you.
34, 35, 35 actually exactly.
35 is good enough.
Okay, cool. And what about 32? 32 I assume does not hit.
32 does not hit.
Cool. So 33 damage plus. She is also entangled.
69 damage.
Yep. Lol.
Leon.
Where's this person? Oh, I see him. They were under my stats button. How are they reacting to this?
Their initiative hasn't come up yet.
Okay. Shit, do I have anything cool to do? You know what? I'm gonna hold my turn until their turn. Just afterwards.
Okay. Zenrai.
Hold.
she is going to use her Swift Death ability to to make an attack with Sneak Attack and Ratchet, and if he hits and
How's she doing sneak attack to him?
so
Because she can.
she must make an attack with a melee weapon that successfully deals damage. So if she's gonna make a full attack, and if she hits it once, then you're gonna have to make a save, and if you fail, you will die, and your body will dissolve.
Son of a bitch.
And
What the
it will
fuck?
take a 9th level spell to resurrect you.
Well, roll up a new character. Start now.
So, against your full AC,
Death attacks are scary, yo.
Poppy's so happy now.
let me check one
Seriously,
other thing
though,
to see if she
what
can
the
get you
fuck?
flat-footed, just to make it easier to hit.
Is this a thing a player can actually do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
have to be
I never heard-
evil and high level, but yes.
I've never heard of that.
I don't think you have to be evil.
Yeah. All the assassin classes require you to be evil.
Really?
Yeah. There used to be good assassin classes in 3.5, and neutral ones, but
Okay. Yeah. Hiding, even in plain sight, it would still take actions, so she's just gonna go for the full attack.
It says it attracts those of it. Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. I suck ass. It has 2 alignment like bars.
Mhm.
For some reason.
That's a crit threat.
That hits.
Oh
And a
god.
crit threat. That confirms.
Alright. Fortunately for you, the confirmation isn't a big deal. You need to make a fortitude save.
Come on, baby. Come on. Yes, that's pretty good. By my standards.
That is good enough, which means
I
that
just
this
fucking hope so.
this resolves as a normal hit, or in this case, a critical. So she gets double her normal damage. 18 points. She cannot do that.
Against me for another 24 hours.
Yeah, she can't use her death attack, but she can still finish full attacking you.
don't forget the sneak attack damage.
I did not forget
She cuts me for it.
the fortitude save prevented it from happening.
Oh, okay.
Does she not have like hide in plain sight or something? Hits.
It would have taken an action to use that.
Yes. Most people have swift hide or something. Quick hide talent.
I'll check.
Anyway.
I'd rather you just die anyway.
That's best.
I don't see anything that appears to make that work that way.
It should be a rogue talent or a ninja talent or something. Anyway, just keep. Okay.
How about that'll be good for it. She'll require a save. I think it's a fortitude save.
Okay, what for?
Blindness.
Cool.
Fun.
Level 2 spell. That is DC 18, so not that bad. Well, not almost no chance of success. Okay, that'll be your turn.
T-Rex is gonna walk over. He can effectively lean over the sides of the hedge. Say no.
Okay.
What is this? Is this the T-Rex?
Temporary.
There's a
Just
class
ask-
about a quickening, and then I'll need a will save of DC 23, or she'll be slow.
Okay. La la la. So, will. $16.
Oh, okay.
Yay! Intended to find her this session, or did you plan on doing something better?
She was going to attack.
Give me 1 second. Okay.
A potion of bark skin, whose caster level has been raised so that it gives a +5 bonus.
Awesome.
I say a potion, 2 such potions.
What was that?
I
Two.
say
2 potions
yeah,
of
2.
bark skin +5 each.
Okay, 2 potions. Gotcha.
2 potions of Shield of Faith, about which the same thing can be said. They give a +5.
Wow.
She wears a +2 mithril chain shirt. She wields a +4 unholy kukri.
Damn. That's huge.
Most of her excess gear is in a bag of holding type 1. She wears a bracelet of friends, on which there are 3 charms that allows her to summon fellow enemies. The charms are already linked to other creatures who you imagine attack you if you summoned them.
Okay, so we'll have to
Like,
do that.
That's an assumption based purely on the fact that
Yeah, the only reason that I don't have a problem with him specifically is because there's a Darbo connection. I'd like to see you talk to him and the other dude.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is the Hamam connection is not good enough? Like a Darbo connection? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm
Is
not
that fucking
going
brown?
I
Is that
to
it?
kick somebody out if they're there.
I don't really like. Nothing is on the Discord that is
Important.
that is important to keep secret.
I agree. I just like to see things cleaned up, and that's part of it.
I'm really kind of anxious about what would happen if he's in, because most Arabs are not as open-minded as me, and I don't know if he's that open-minded.
I don't know if he starts shit, I'll start shit back.
Oh,
We'll see
dude,
how it
don't
goes.
worry, dude.
I mean,
I'll
if he
start
talks,
of course.
I mean, if upon hearing about my gayness he talks shit, I'm a deal with it. I'm not gonna turn shit
Yeah, of course.
for him.
Like I'll stand up for it, but
And
I'm not sure about it.
I mean, it's a matter of if we can't get him to shut the hell up about it, then he is free
Definitely.
he's free to fuck off.
I'm
In
not
fact-
talking just about the gayness. I'm talking about the whole fucking channel that we have about fucking not safe for work.
I mean, it's his choice if he wants to be in our
Right, there's a
Discord.
look
given
at
that
Big old
there.
banner.
It's just funny. I'm like, he's gonna be surprised, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying, oh my god, he's gonna be the worst. He's a fucking homophobe bigot who's gonna start fucking crusading. I'm not saying he's gonna do that. He's just gonna be surprised.
There's a big old banner before you get to see anything on the Not Safe for Work channel. So
True. But yeah, I don't want him to cause any trouble for you guys.
mm,
So that's why I keep asking and asking and asking. I'm sorry.
no, you're good, man. I accept any kind of entertainment.
Don't tell me what to do, puppy. I'll be level 15 if I want to. You're not my mom.
Hmm.
You are my daddy, though.
Oh god.
That was perfect.
Anyway, so anything more scheduled, or do you want to end
So,
for both?
I mean, theoretically, I have the entire negotiation prepared, but we're at a good stopping point to have them arrive next week.
Yep.
Tomorrow's the off Saturday, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I think.
Wednesday is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have Belkson prepared for Wednesday if we want.
I think that's a Derby day, but you'll have to
If-
talk to him.
Darby is certainly welcome to that Wednesday. I had a very productive. I wish I could say I regret canceling. I regret that I canceled on you at the last minute rather than remembering to tell you when I first learned, rather than forgetting about it completely and then learning again the day before. But I can't say I regret the meeting because I actually it was for my. Oh, well, let's settle everything else and then I'll talk about this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
So the
okay to
fourth
hang out
floor
for a bit.
Dobson?
Me too.
So, is there anything else to settle schedule-wise before I talk about this?
I think I have next Saturday, to which we discussed that. Do you want to take that, and then I'll take the following Wednesday so that everything works out?
It's all the same. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the